And this is where, you know, I draw the line. I know the Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on black Americans. You just can't. You know what I mean? Thanks to the one person that said Kyrie Irving's black ass was nowhere near the Holocaust. In fact, he's not even certain it existed.
Here, Dave is referencing the fact that Australian-born Kyrie Irving has been a rather outspoken conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer, and supporter of the far-right movement. Now, in this final part, Dave brings the focus back on Kanye while sharing more of his personal experience in a controversially humorous way. In fact, some people didn't take kindly to this.
Listen, okay, I don't think Kanye is crazy at all. I think he's possibly not well. Well, I've been to Hollywood. I don't want y'all to get mad at me. I'm just telling you, I've been to Hollywood. This was just what I saw. It's a lot of Jews. Like a lot. But that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of black people in Ferguson, Missouri. Doesn't mean we run the place.
Well, this is only half of his set. In the other half, he offers some very keen insights on the Trump era and the state of American politics. If you'd like to see that part in another video, drop us a comment down below. And also, we'd love to hear your perspective on this matter. Please keep it respectful and non-hateful, yo. Like, comment, subscribe. See you on the flip side. Peace. What up? So the previous episodes, we focused on Wild 'N Out's diss game, Goddamn. And whereas that focused on smack talk, in this next game is all about that sweet talk. Let me holla.
Your mama gonna brother holler at you? Holla, holla, holla. Holla at you, holla, holla at you, holla at you, holla, 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 holla.
Now the term holla is a local American English term which means to get in contact with someone. For example, I'ma holla at you later. Now, holla can also mean to buy me. For example, I'ma holla at homegirl with them long legs. So, let's see which team has the best holla tactic. First up, my man plays into the ideal of every woman's dreams with this one.
What's up, baby? 6'10", 100 million, Maybach out front. Say no more.
That's real life. That's real life. That is true.
Ladies, is that true? Leave a comment down below.
Okay.
Now, up next, our boy D-Ray delivers on the wordplay.
Right there, 7, no more. Move, right, move. I just caught feelings for you.
So, cop feelings is a modern way to say that you super like someone. And I'd appreciate it if you catch feelings for this video and smash that like button, son. Coming up next, our Indian beauty is about to shoot her shot.
Girl, you ain't never gonna have to pay for Indian hair again. Cause you could wear me.
Fun fact, India is the second largest exporter of human hair in the world.
Really?
Next up, the 2-for-1 special, and what has to be the most played out pickup line ever.
Are you ready for the worst threesome you've ever had in your life? We're very white.
So when I look at you, baby, you remind me of a heart murmur. Cause every time I look at you, you make my heart skip a beat.
Now, anyone with experience knows that it's not what you say, but how you say it. There are some things that only certain people can say, like this one.
I'm 2 Chainz.
Now, it's been said that some women like persistent men. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity, son, which is why the next guy knows exactly how to switch his game up.
The last time I asked you for your number, you said no. So I really can't have it, right?
No.
It's all right, man.
Big dog, I got the courtside seats for you.
Good looks, boy.
All right, bet.
Now can I have your number?
When in doubt, Social Proof can help you out. Now, some guys think that having money can get you girls, or that maybe just being straightforward will get you a chance. This is kinda true, but you're about to find out exactly how not to do it.
Oh, hello. I'm not really good at this sort of thing, so I'll let my friend Mr. Washington do the talking.
If your left leg was Christmas and your right leg was New Year's, could I visit you between the holidays?
For all you big boys out there, this next brother has got the perfect line for you. But you better stretch first.
I just slid in your DM.
Here's what you probably shouldn't say to any woman with siblings.
Whew! Baby, if you had a twin, I'd get the other one pregnant. So you don't lose that shape.
Now this next one is my personal favorite. My man takes creativity to the next level.
Watch this. What's up, baby? You remind me of the 20 letters in the alphabet.
There's 26 letters in the alphabet.
Silly me. How could I forget the U-R-A-Q-T?
Now, even with the op on the left trying hard to cock block, my guy dodges his defense like Neo in the Matrix, son. Scored not 1, but 2 points.
Oh, no, hell no. That's only 25. He's still missing one. He can't count.
I'm sorry, silly me. You can get that D later.
Speaking of the alphabet, knowing your ABCs is just the first step to learning English. You want to know how to use them ABCs to get the real life SOD, and I got something for you. 我跟你讲，不要再这样子讲英文。Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Bye bye. 没有人这样子讲英文 because you sound like a robot and you sound like my grandpa. Learning English should be for 还给靠背还有把妹。
哦，那怎么办呢？我是不是
Hello
要
and
去听
welcome
很
to
多英文嘻
Champions
哈的
Day.
歌，或是
Champions
看
Day,
电
what do I
视剧
mean?
或
Well,
看电
we're
影
crowning
吗
an April
No,
Monthly
all the
champion,
stuff
putting
you
somebody
can't learn in
to
school
our
or Bushiban,
World
you
Championship
can learn
later this
on
year.
your course.
And we have
Taiwan's
6
largest
champions
online
here.
learning
We
platform.
have world champions,
My
ladder
program
champions,
to
global
years
tournament
of
champions,
real world teaching experience.
CRL regional champions. It's champion filled, and of course on the desk we have the World Cyber Games champion Juicy J and a future disc golf champion, my buddy Andrew Guy.
Yes.
I'm Rich Slayton. I'm so excited for a day like this one. It's going to be a banger. Andrew, we have Mohammed Light. Will he again do the same thing where he wins golden tickets and gives them away, or will somebody else take it on this beautiful Sunday?
I mean, who knows? We saw a lot of really great competition yesterday. Yes, of course, Mohammed Light was perfect on the day. He went 4-0 in his game, 2-0 in sets. He's living up in that upper bracket. But Pandora, a standout yesterday, a shocking set against Samwell, just because I feel like Pandora was kind of the underdog in that. And then talking about Samwell, we've got a world finalist there, and just like you mentioned, Mugi down in the lower bracket, a world champion. So we are stacked right now. And of course, might as well just keep going on it. Pedro just won ladder last month, right? He was just #1 on ladder. So Juicy, we have a really, really exciting Sunday. Anyone stand out to you from what we saw yesterday?
You know, we talked about everyone except Clown. I mean, we're going to get into predictions later, but I think I was the only one to pick Clown today. I feel like he could be a little bit of a dark horse, and I liked what I saw yesterday, and he's the one that I'm most excited to watch today.
Well, then let's get into it. Andrew, take us through what we're doing throughout this competition and, of course, today in our championship.
That's right. If you want to be a part of CRL, you can do it. It's the era of everyone. You just need to get in that top 1,000 Path of Legends Ultimate Champion. Do what, or call it what you will, whether it's Heist, whether it's Mega Draft, whether it's just regular old one-on-one. Then you get to that top 1,000, you go to a 2-day competition hour qualifiers. You have to end up in that top 8 to get to where we are, our monthly final. Double elimination, dual mode, in-game dual mode, and of course the top 7 players from our leaderboard and the top 7 players with our golden tickets will be going to World Finals. They'll be joined by 2 more. And of course, today, this weekend, let's look at that was the macro. Let's now look at the micro. 8 players? Well, there's only 6 remaining. We said goodbye to Sam and Tico yesterday. They each walked away with $1,000. Like I said, it's best of 3. It's double elimination. And of course, it is in-game duel mode. So you have to build 4 unique decks before that best of 3 starts. And of course, why are we here? Well, we're here for the golden ticket, but we're also here for a lot of money. That's right. $16,000 goes to first place. Mohamed Light has his eyes on making it a cool 32 on the year, plus all the other things you get for qualifying. Of course, second place gets $10K, and like I said earlier, 7th and 8th place already walked away with $1,000 apiece. Rich, the bracket is stacked still, even after we said goodbye to 2 of our players yesterday.
Yesterday, we already had a banger of a lineup, but of course, as you can see in the lower bracket round 1, he already mentioned it, OP Sam and Tico heading home early. And now we get into the second part of our bracket, day 2. We're going to kick things off in the lower bracket, elimination matches. Samuel Basoto against Mugi, Clown, aka Kickash, against this new upcoming rookie in Pedro. And then the upper bracket finals. Can Pandora disrupt Mohamed Light, or will Mohamed Light win? And if he wins that upper bracket final, that means the lower bracket champion has a guaranteed golden ticket, because Mo already has one. You can't take home 2. It's going to be an insane day of eliminations, and of course, one lucky person joining Mohamed Light at our World Finals. And with every single weekend, the 3 of us make our calls on who's going to do something, who's going to go ahead and get wins, who's going to take some L's. Yesterday, Andrew picked every single one wrong, and Juicy and I both got them all right. And now here we go today, and this is the first time that none of us are exactly the same. Andrew, you're picking Samuel Basoto on our first match.
Yeah, I'm going with Sam in match number 1. I really liked what I saw out of him yesterday. Obviously, it's really, really hard to root against Mugi. Mugi also looked exceptional, other than when, of course, he's playing up against, you know, the best in the world in Mohamed Light. So I just really like what I saw out of Sam. I think it's a coin toss. I could see myself going either way. But Juicy, you mentioned it in the intro. We obviously talked about it before the show. You're going Boom Clown. You're going Kick-Ass. You're going Clown. Why him over Pedro? Pedro's a guy that could be, as Rich has talked about, Rookie of the Year candidate. What makes you want to go Boom Clown, Juice?
You know, we watched his match yesterday versus Mohamed Light, and we saw him on the brink of being able to beat the world champion. One mistake cost him the match, but from that performance, I loved what I saw. And I definitely think that you might be able to take Pedro down. And also, I gotta set my part away from you guys, so hopefully I can take some points and I can beat you guys in the prediction.
Well, that's all the goal of trying to separate yourself. And of course, these players trying to separate themselves from the rest of the pack, because keep in mind, everybody, that it's not just the golden ticket on the line. We have 7 golden tickets, but also the top 7 players from our leaderboards will go to World Finals at the end of the year, and that's going to be important. Every single match win bumps you up in the amount of points you get this weekend at an incredible rate. And speaking of which, both of these players, you expect to see them at World Finals. Mugi didn't get many points last month. Would love to jump up the leaderboards here in our opening match. Andrew, former world champion, former CRL West regional champion in our opening matchup.
Yeah, I also just wish that Crazy Raccoon was just something that Mugi titled himself. It's like his little, like, sub name. But yeah, with Mugi yesterday, you know, it's one of those things where it was a rough start against Mo. Mo, kind of all things went right in this first matchup. It was a quick 2-0. It's hard to really gauge where Mugi's at, but as I mentioned on yesterday's broadcast, it's hard to also know where Mugi's at unless you follow him closely, which is, he's one of the players in the world that I just don't. I think it's obviously because of the language barrier. Maybe it's because of his, you know, when he makes content, it's hard for me to catch him, or maybe I need to make more of an effort. I don't know what form he's in, but in true fashion, it kind of goes for the same way with Samuel Basoto. Last year, we saw him come out and win that golden ticket early on. He was very, very dominant, and then everyone had a big question mark on him in Helsinki, in Finland, at World Finals, and he showed up, and he made everyone else shut up. Walked away with a 3rd place victory, a ton of cash in his pocket, and honestly, like I said, this is a coin toss matchup. It's going to be brilliant, because they both looked exceptional.
You know, Juicy, you have 2 players who have very little left to prove in their careers, right? You have Mugi, who's already won a world championship, Samuel Basoto, who's got tons of top 1 ladder finishes, who's won a CRL Western Championship, 3rd place finish last year. But will their report card for 2023 say something like, has lots of potential, fails to apply himself appropriately?
You know, I feel like it's really just a question of who's hot in the moment. Like you guys said, both these players super established. It really could go either way. I think it's going to be whoever's in that mindset. You know, in Clash Royale, your mindset, your momentum, it matters a lot. I could even say that whoever gets this first match, maybe it's come down to like some deck picks in this first match, might just take the best of 3 and move on in the loser's bracket.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that Juicy makes there about both these guys. You know, Sam's definitely a lot more emotional, but Mugi, I think, can maybe be affected by that confidence that Juicy's talking about. I think that calling the first game, maybe being the first game winner, maybe being the match winner, is a really good call.
Well, of course, we're just a few moments away from getting this first game kicked off. And, of course, those of you who are watching at home, you can watch right here on the broadcast. If you want to expand your experience, of course, the Tournament Hub, the CRL logo on the main screen in your Clash Royale app, you can click there and follow along with the gameplay blown up to the full size of your phone or your tablet so you can watch along that way as well. And, of course, just throw our commentary on in the background for all the extra insight from my partners here on this weekend. Mugi and Samuel Basoto, Juicy, we're going to let you go in just a moment here, but you know, you've been in that waiting for the match to start, and it's a big match, right? Obviously, winning at World Cyber Games, you had so much downtime. What did you do as we let you go to solidify yourself and get yourself mentally ready for a moment like this?
I mean, you gotta be focused, you gotta prepare, but it's like we talked about, it's all about that confidence, right? You gotta tell yourself, I can do this, I'm the better player, and I'm gonna take the win. If you don't do that, the chances are you're not going to win.
All right. Thanks a lot, Juicy. We'll see him again a little bit later in the day. But for now, Andrew Guy, I know you love what you're seeing. It's Mortar to open things up.
You know, I really do love what I'm seeing. I also really love seeing the Rascals just because, you know, after getting that recent buff, the change in the way that they're placed on the map when you drop it, it's a card that I think people are still trying to feel out and decide whether or not it is viable. I think in general, the consensus is that it's not 100% viable, but I'm excited to see Sam play it. And I'm also excited to see him pair it with Skeleton King. He's going to have a bit of his hands full, though, depending on what his big spell is dealing with that Musketeer. And, of course, it's always a little annoying when you're playing Mortar and you have to deal with Hog EQ. It's not ever, like, just all sewn up, but it definitely makes the matchup a little bit frustrating.
So Hog to the left-hand side, a little pre-log there. Does get 2 of the skeletons off, and this EQ, the body blocks might be sufficient to slow down this Hog. No, the Hog threads the needle. Gonna get 1. Tankage out there. Gonna get 2. Here comes hit number 3, and the Hog parade continues.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were talking about the body block there from the Mighty Miner protecting the Hog there, putting in the work, getting on top of that Skeleton King. Shocking little bit of interactions there for Sam. I mean, nothing went his way, and then he gets the last second snowball in, and you know, you understand he was trying to prevent the last Hog hit, but then he spends all of his elixir, opens the gates to a fresh Hog, and now kind of a desperation play in the opposite lane. Just a tough one, because also playing against Graveyard here, going up against Musketeer, you don't have a great spell to deal with the Muskie, and if you do want to double spell the Muskie out, then you have to deal with the Goblins. So I think the matchup was already tough. Mugi played it perfect.
So game number 1, this was the potentially deciding game, and you know, you look at Sam's body language, facial language here. Certainly, we maybe a little bit more. We know he has some emotions here and there, but pretty expressive. He seems a little bit off kilter at the moment.
I mean, I'd be super annoyed with how that game went, honestly. I mean, you're trying to play something that's a little bit different than what we've seen so far in the competitive meta, and then you basically drop the ball on figuring out whether or not it's viable at the highest level because of the very first offensive push from your opponent. So we'll see if Sam can reset here in game 2.
Miner wall breakers for Sam game 2, and the Miner picked up easily by the Golden Knight. We'll see which of the many variations, and not going with the Miner wall breakers MK Prince that's been so popular.
Yeah, this is kind of the version that's taken over, especially if it's the version with the Musketeer, and you see Sam having to drop those extra Goblins, maybe just going a step early on that ability. One of those wall breakers untouched, though, should get a nice connection.
A little bit of NATO work there to clean things up as we get past the first minute of gameplay. It's all Sam here. Has he righted the ship, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. You see a misplay there by Mugi. You know, he doesn't get the King Tower activation with that NATO, and then that allows Sam to send the Miter to a different spot. So right now, doing all things correctly. It is the Musketeer version, which is great because yesterday I started the broadcast off with, I think, 2 wrong calls right out the gates. Guys, it's 6 a.m. here, okay? Give me a break.
And just a little log cycle here. Sam full up on Elixir. And, you know, we talk about this being a Champions weekend. Obviously, Mugi, the 2021 world champion, alongside his heavy success both on ladder and in CRL East. On the Samuel Basoto side, winning that 2020 CRL West spring season with Space Station Gaming. Of course, he also being a ladder champion as well.
Yeah, good old Space Station. Feels like a long time ago now, but those are some good old days. And defenses should be pretty fun here for Sam. I mean, you've got the ability to create a lot of opposite lane pressure or same lane pressure if you want. And then the Musketeer coupled with that bomb tower, you see him playing them on top of each other right here because he knows that Mugi's not going to go for a big spell in that moment. But later on, he can play the bomb tower towards the center, Musketeer offset, and have some nice defenses. Going to have to make Mugi innovate with the NATOs.
And going for the catch with the cannon here will at least prevent the Musketeer damage, but trying to stop everything is just proving to be a tall order for Mugi as the ability for the Mighty Miner activates and does get picked up by the Electro Giant. So far in this competition for April, Mugi 2 out of 3 wins with E-Giant play against top 16 opponents.
Getting a little nervous here for Sam. I mean, he's still doing a pretty good job, and obviously he's in the damage lead by about 900, but I almost wish Juicy was on the cast for this because Juicy really knows this deck inside and out. But I can already kind of feel the tides turning in Mugi's favor, and especially if Sam can't get a bomb tower down in time, this is not good because Mugi's already back around to another E-Giant, and he's got a lot of pressure in that right-hand lane. This is all trouble for Sam.
And that's going to be way down. 11:23 with just a minute 45 remaining. This, as you called it, the pressure is mounting on the right-hand side. Cannon takes care of all of this. Oh, this is...
Does it? There we go. Cannon barely does its work there. And yeah, I mean, this is, I just know playing against this deck, because I love playing Miner Control and obviously love playing Miner Mortar Control, is just that as you get into double and triple Elixir, you can kind of feel whether or not the game's going in your direction. And it feels right now that Sam still has a chance, but Mugi is really kind of turning it towards his favor, especially as we get these next 15 seconds off the clock.
And there's the question of at what point does Lightning come more into play for Mugi in this matchup. But with the Miner Poison starting to stack up, that's a big gap open back up for Samuel Basoto.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good job there by Sam. Spends a lot, and now you see Mugi kind of setting up for one of his last pushes. Gets the high cannon there, which is going to give poison value, but oh, I just don't know. I mean, a couple Miner Poisons and we could be there, but this is Mugi's shot.
And a nice bar barrel onto the bomb tower, trying to release this Electro Giant. Cannon there does not pick up, and you see that placement for the Miner. Does not allow the pickup for the cannon, and does not allow the NATO to King Tower.
That should do it.
Done. Can he pull? NATO goes to the King Tower, but that's going to be it. GG, well played. Here comes game number 3.
And you can see there an almost completely healthy E-Giant on the tower. In those final moments, Sam seeing the finish line, recognizing just how far it is, and jumps just in time to beat out Mugi to get us to game 3. Love to see it.
Hog and Electro Giant so far played for Mugi. We'll see what he has in store for game number 3.
Sam did a really good job of creating just enough pressure in that left-hand lane to make it where Mugi could never really get a Golden Knight plus E-Giant plus NATO combo going in that right-hand lane, which is really what you need to shoot for when you're in double and triple Elixir. Doing what he did throughout single and a good part of double was fine, but once he got towards that second half of double and into triple, you want to try to get at least one of those chains off. Basoto just not making it happen. Great job there by the Brazilian.
And a fish battle here in the middle. I believe that both players have Fireball available, and Royal Giant Fireball was very popular yesterday.
Yeah.
Although Sam might be going Lightning.
Firecracker A lot of fun. Firecracker, she's been showing up just a little bit more, I think, because archers were everywhere, and then arrows were everywhere, and then archers stopped showing out as much, so then arrows stopped showing up as much, and then you get Firecracker. It's always fun to watch the meta evolve.
And Sam's certainly happy to have Fireball rather than Lightning in this one. Shuts down that Pig's Push fairly simply as we go past the midway point of regulation time, though so far it's Mugi pitching a shutout, no damage either side. Samuel Basoto taking around 300-ish in that left-hand lane.
Yeah, Sam's got some luxuries at his hand to deal with those piggies. I mean, each time he's probably going to have to take a little bit of damage depending on how much he wants to spend. The nice thing is he has Fireball for that flying machine, he has Mega Minion for the flying machine, and he also has the Monk ability.
Very interesting going with Fire, and this looks like Royal Giant for Sam. It's very interesting going with the Mega Minion and Firecracker combination as opposed to the more common Phoenix and Hunter variant.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he used the Phoenix earlier on, so that's like, oh, that makes sense for the Mega Minion, but I agree, the Firecracker a bit of a surprise here, and Sam doing okay with it. I mean, he's getting decent damage right now. I'm a little worried about the counter push he's going to have to deal with, and that's a pretty good Fireball.
A lot on the board here, and the Fireball out of cycle, so Pigs come right down behind. You're going to see a nice little Bar Barrel Electro Spirit play. Mega Minion going to work.
Giant Skeleton.
Wow. Ooh. Don't forget that Ghost, and that forces the Monk out. The Monk should go into ability here to take care of the flying machine, as it's not in range of the tower. Andrew, as we go into sudden death overtime, how do you feel about Sam's chances here in shutting down these pushes as they get deeper and deeper?
Well, I'll be honest, I really liked what he did there. I think the Firecracker being able to add in some basic spell damage, if you will, because she's so hard to get on top of. There you go. Arrows have to come out. And then the Mega Minion as well with the Bar Barrel and the E-Spirit did a pretty good job of cleaning up those Hogs pushes. So honestly, if I'm Sam, I'm feeling good at where I'm at. I'd probably try to do what he's doing right now and just keep playing passive. You know, he's getting good damage. He doesn't need to force in another Royal Giant at the moment. He's got a great damage lead.
Solid Fireball there for Sam, opening that up to 1347. Bottom left-hand side. Arrows just being saved for those Firecrackers right now on the side of Mugi.
I kind of wish that Sam saved those Firecrackers to play more towards the center, but I think it was a cycle issue of wanting to get it on the board, and then if he played it off to the right, it would have just walked into no man's land. So you see here, playing it there so they can get shots to aim it towards the center if she stays alive or if the unit stays alive.
And nice pick there by the Fisherman on the Firecracker, not the way Sam wanted that all to be sequenced, and here we go. Is this the big moment for Mugi as we go into triple? We see Fireball go clean that up on the right, but look at this giant skeleton trying to escape on the left. It might get there.
Just in time, and that was a juicy Fireball from Sam there, getting everything he needed off the board for Mugi. Still has a 600 plus damage lead, but you just saw a big breath taken there by Samuel Basoto, knowing that that giant skeleton got dangerously close.
And again, Fisherman this time not able to get to the Firecracker. Arrows do their job. Monk gets pulled in and does
look at
get
those
finished.
Mega Minions just putting in work on that giant Skelly. You love to see it.
And look at the general doubling up we're seeing on Sam's side. 2 Firecrackers at 1.2 Mega Minions.
Yep. I mean, that's what you want to do. Those Mega Minions, he cannot deal with. Mugi cannot deal with the Mega Minions at all. So stack the board with them. Get as many Firecrackers down as you can, because then the Firecrackers, you know, you can only use arrows in one spot. And this was a great game by Sam. I mean, I think we saw 1 Royal Giant the whole game. Otherwise, it was just perfect game management, and now we see a celebration there. That's the celebration you see from Sam when he knows he's beaten a world-class competitor.
I mean, he most certainly did, and this was some really phenomenal deck picking on the part of Sam and his team, but there, you talked about it, the Mega Minions so hard to deal with. Mugi trying to find opportunities to break on through. And what Sam did really, really well was in the moments where he didn't have Fireball available on defense against those Royal Hogs, he did a great job of mitigating the damage that could have been much worse from those Royal Hogs. You saw the Bar Barrel, Mega Minion, E-Spirit plays, just really smart stuff from Sam overall. And he takes not just one big step towards a golden ticket today, but a lot more points towards those standings if he does fall short.
Yeah, you know, and he got a really great setup there, a great matchup with the deck situation that he was in, just because there was no way to control that Mega Minion and the Firecracker. Well, honestly, there was no way to control the Mega Minion, period. And then being able to stack those Firecrackers was just so frustrating for Mugi, especially when he got the Firecrackers where he needed. But going back to game number 1, you can see right here, Sam knows exactly what he needs to do about a minute before this happens. Maybe 35 seconds beforehand. He recognizes, I need to get a few more miners down. I have to start poisoning. Mugi played a great cannon right in the safe spot, but it actually did not pick up the miner on either of the drops by Samwell. So great fortune there for the Brazilian. Ends up taking it 2-1, and then in game 2, which we just saw, it was so funny, man, because you and I were calling it, and it was like a pretty low energy call, because it was almost like watching, again, a chess match. It was so brilliant from both of them, always calling and receiving, great responses on both sides, and Sam comes out on top by just a few hundred.
And Mugi trying to kind of poke and prod his way through to tower damage, but just couldn't end up actually making it happen. So back to game number 1, where Mugi got a phenomenal situation here, and we saw early on, honestly, Andrew, it looked like Sam was very short for this tournament, the way that Mugi just ran through him after the first hog and the double up hog took things down.
Yeah, and especially that Mighty Miner not only being able to tank for it, but somehow getting on top of that Skeleton King and just taking it right off the board. Sam had nothing left in the tank. And then you go to game number 2. This is when things turned around for Basoto. It looked like Mugi, like you said, Rich, might just 2-0 it, but Sam did some great miner poison work, as we were calling at the end of that. And then you get on to game number 3. We just saw it. Great stuff there. You know, I like the patience with the RG. I talked about it yesterday, man. I love when a win condition only comes out 1 or 2 times, and Sam did a really good job of recognizing he got the damage. Now time to play defense.
And, you know, I'm remembering now, I totally forgot about this. We talked about Samuel Basoto's time at Space Station Gaming. Well, as we're talking about picking decks and preparing for these matchups, the coach working with Samuel Basoto for this competition, none other than his former coach at Space Station Gaming, Trainer Luis. So a little throwback there, bringing Luis back into the game, and Sam and Luis, obviously a lot of trust there between those two, a long-time relationship, and a great performance. Juicy, let's talk. You're known. You are an E-Giant player. That's your jam. Talk to us about that game too.
First off, I just want to say, boy, was I wrong about whoever's going to win that first game winning the whole thing. Wow, like Mugi destroying that first game. There's almost, nothing that Sam could have done in that matchup. In the second game, E-Giant, you know, it's a really tough matchup for E-Giant, for Mugi there. Great deck pick by Sam. Not only that, but he played fantastically. Notice that miner placement used throughout the match. Not only is it anti-tornado, but it's also anti-cannon. You can't place the cannon there in order to catch the miner. And that's the best placement versus E-Giant, and Sam abused that placement throughout the entirety of the match. In that third game, though, just nerves of steel by Sam. Like, absolutely beautiful gameplay throughout, cycling Firecrackers, out-cycling the arrows, getting value. Interesting deck choice by Mugi to pick a Fireball bait deck when his opponent still had Fireball on the board, though. So maybe a little bit better of a deck pick by Mugi there, and he could have came out with a win.
Well, we don't know what his 2 choices were there at the end, Andrew. That's the hard part. And let's go ahead and take a look at the advancement as Samwell moves on to the lower bracket semis. And again, he's going to face the winner of Clown versus Pedro. And one more win from that puts him in a big contention. Keep in mind, really a big definer of this day is going to be what happens in the upper bracket finals between Mohamed Light and Pandora. But for the moment, Sam has done the important thing, more money, another step towards a golden ticket, and has guaranteed himself a minimum of 50 points towards our leaderboard.
And I think what's crazy about all the things that you're talking about, Rich, is that golden ticket, no matter who it goes to, they're not going to be satisfied unless they get it on their own, because they know if they get that golden ticket and it's given to them by Mo getting first place and them getting second, they're going to have to deal with him at the end of the season again on the live stage for, $1.3 million. And while they'll be excited about it, they won't feel satisfied. You know what I'm saying? Because Mo is still standing there at the end going, hey, man, you're welcome. There's the golden ticket. I'll see you at Worlds.
You're welcome. Certainly the maybe the best BM. Can we get a "you're welcome" emote in the chat in the game maybe? Because oh boy, that would hurt. Maybe more than the thanks. Then we're talking about our matchup right now. This is probably on paper 2 of the biggest underdogs remaining in this competition. Clown, Kick-Ash, certainly talented. Pedro, potential rookie of the year. And I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and take this one away and enjoy a phenomenal matchup.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this one is you talk about kind of the momentum of both of these guys. And, you know, with what Clown did yesterday, being able to go up against Sam, and then he loses to Mo, and then decides to go down and has to deal with, you know, where he's at in this situation. It seems like kind of an up and down day for him. You know, Pedro on the other side of it, I'm looking more at what he's done on ladder as of late. You look at that February finish of being #1, that's a huge accomplishment. I'm just going for him for that sheer little edge out factor. I mean, that's a big piece of hardware to be carrying there, Juicy, a first place finish on ladder.
Absolutely. I mean, Pedro, one of the best ladder players in the world, getting multiple accounts in the top 10 in certain situations. Overall, in this this match, though, I feel like in competition-wise, Clown has done a lot better job. For example, beating OP Sam yesterday, and then losing versus Muhammad Light, whereas Pedro lost versus Pandora, which is, you know, totally fine, Serial World finalist, but then just barely beating Tico, as we saw in that replay there.
Yeah. I was going to say that last little bit there with Tico, you know, Tico was very upset. I think it was a 30-ish HP loss, and it felt like it was right there. He kind of come back into it. Tico was having a bit of a rough day yesterday in general, but, you know, that's kind of the way it goes here at the monthly finals. You have to say goodbye to 2 players on the first day and goodbye to everyone else the next day. I'm excited for this matchup. I think it's the hardest one for me to call. I think it really could go either way. I think I saw a lot of really great stuff from both of them, so, you know, here we go. We got 50 seconds into the cast. Top of your screen looking like RG. Bottom of the screen looking similar.
Yeah, could be RG from both players. After seeing the arrows in the snowball, definitely going to be Graveyard from Clown. Interesting deck pick from Pedro here. He has a... I think RG is his most used win condition, but only a 20% win rate with the RG. So, I mean, he's looking good so far, though. Popping off the right-hand side tower for so many shots, bringing that tower down to 1689. A little bit of a counter push from Clown here, though.
And Graveyard coming down. Graveyard been used a handful of times, you know, today and yesterday to not a lot of success yet, Juice. Wow, but right now, Pedro just having no answers, having to fireball the tower.
I think the biggest mistake there was not saving the E-Spirit for the Graveyard. Maybe he played the E-Spirit too early before he saw the Graveyard, but I don't think that was the case. I think he made a small macro mistake there, using the wrong card to distract the Fisherman, and then using the Fireball versus the Graveyard is not what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe Pedro looks at the first 4 cards and does what I did and goes, no, you know, maybe it's RG, and he's just using Snowball because you know, it's dual mode, and then he goes, oh wow, this is a very bad situation once the arrows come down also, and he's just in trouble.
100% could have been the case. A little bit of a Fisherman battle at the bridge here. Clown plays his Fisherman first. That means he's going to win the interaction. Fisherman also pulling this. He's going for the Skeleton Graveyard, but the Giant or the Skeleton King gets pulled back by the Hunter, which makes it so that the tower is able to focus on the Graveyard. Wow, the tower just retargeted the Skeleton King though for no reason. The Skeleton Swarm gets so much damage.
That makes no sense. It's surrounded by Skellies. Somehow goes to the Skeleton King there. And Clown ends up getting a great bit of fortune there for some odd interactions. Pedro in a lot of trouble.
A lot of damage coming through there. The E-Spirit must have cleared enough skeletons right at the perfect moment for the tower to target the Skelly King and allow some massive swarms here. RG in the
that is
Pedro
insane.
To make a comeback. Absolutely insane. Fireball's going to drop. This is going to be a lot of damage to the right here, though.
Yeah, I love that fireball there on top of the Zappies. You know, you can see it coming from a mile away, but you got to do it. Zappies stun a little bit. 768 to 511. How is the defense going to be played here on top of this Graveyard? There's the late E-Spirit. Gets a great jump. Snowball comes in. And will the Larrys... They get there just enough. Arrows come down. Great first game there from Clown and Juice. That E-Spirit doing Pedro dirty a couple times. One time by not showing up for the party, and then another time by showing up too soon.
No kidding. I didn't even think about that. The E-Spirit was the breaking point for Pedro in that match. I really liked his defense in there, using the Monk ability to deflect the Hunter shots into the Skeleton King to try and get the tower target on the Skeletons, but just wasn't enough. Very nice game from Clown, like you said, and we're hopping into game 2. Reminder, guys, it is duels formatting, so none of the cards played in that first match are going to be able to be repeated. Goblins back from Clown. Let's see what's happening.
Juicy, if you were playing at you know, in CRL, obviously you cannot because you're a caster now. Would you want 20 seconds instead of 12, or do you think it doesn't really even matter? Would the extra 8 seconds be just to breathe? Have you already made your decision by, you know, 3 minutes into the first game? Or does that extra 8 seconds, you think it would help? Because I was just thinking yesterday when I was watching, like, 12 seconds, that's not a lot of time to make a lot of decisions.
It's a great question. I think that, honestly, that these guys, because of how low on time that it is, I think these guys have to make the decision on the deck before the match even starts. I think the extra would definitely be that breathing room, like you said. But who knows, maybe a few extra seconds would actually allow the players to be able to have more wherewithal and make better decisions for the deck picks in general.
Everyone at League Ops and Supercell are just furious with me right now. Just even bringing it up. All right, so here we go. 2677 lowest tower on the board. Boom Clown, Kick Ash, untouched right now at the top of your screen and up 1 game against Pedro. So looking like you could have a great pick here, Juice. We'd be even on the day, but I'd still be winning on the weekend, just to let everyone at home know.
You just had to bring that up, didn't you?
I mean, of course I did. It's all I've got going for me.
Clown with the Monk Bridge Fam, we've seen a decent amount of lately. Pedro with the classic Golden Knight drill deck here. I mean, I do think Pedro has a solid matchup here for himself, just because he has that snowball to deflect those Ram Riders, but also the Electro Wizard. Electro is one of the best counter to the Ram Rider. Clown does have Fireball to clear that off the board in combination with a Rage or maybe a Ram Rider snare hit. So maybe as we get into larger Elixir times, we will see him be able to break through with a very nice Monk ability.
Yeah, and then for the other side of it with Pedro, I'm curious about, you know, with how much is on the ground for Clown when those Golden Knight dashes are going to happen, if they are going to happen. I know it's a lot harder to pull off now just with that bit of change in tile range, but when you look at the responses that Clown has, it feels like that's going to be the best way to go.
I really love this play by Pedro, using the Monk against himself to activate King Tower. On the other hand, if you notice at the top there, he went for a Tornado in combination with his Dark Prince, but he placed it too far forward. If he would have played his Tornado 1 tile farther up, even if it did make it so that the King Tower was activated, he could have got so much more damage on that most recent push.
I get Pedro there just giving so much fireball damage. Sorry to cut you off.
Very true. The other thing Clown is doing well here is he's forcing out those defensive drills. But like you said, Pedro defending very well right now, and he's, you know, he's not in the damage lead. He needs to make something happen in the later Elixir, but it's not going to be impossible for him. All he needs is one good goal line NATO dash.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that feels like the best way to get through, because with also how many units are on the board for Clown, it feels like the Magic Archer is going to be needed a lot more defensively than trying to sneak something in offensively, as you can see there where Pedro's playing it.
And this Monk ability is getting so much value. Cannon Cart and the Magic Archer there. Electro is doing its best, but now the Electro is out of cycle and there's a push going down the left. Cannon Cart, Snowball, Dark Prince, going to clean everything up pretty well, but once again, Pedro's constantly defending, using his Wing Condition on defense, using the Tornado on defense. How is he going to break through right here?
I really like that he's at least trying to change things up and go for not using the drill defensively, and now we finally get a drill offensively, but there's just so much control of the map by Clown. So now you see a bit of a cheeky NATO coming in, not in the damage lead, but getting very, very close is Pedro.
Interesting Dark Prince here. This is not in the lane that he needs it in to defend. He does get the drill down, though, to pull it over to the existing
Snowball. Nope.
The existing Cannon Card there, and a great Tornado. Look how much value that Cannon Card got. How much Elixir did that Cannon Card actually just kill right there?
Yeah, so much, you know, great control with the Cannon Cart, gets that NATO in. Ewiz comes down just in time, now tries to get the sneaky Magic Archer, but instead it shoots his own tower. Love to see it, and now it goes and puts in work on that tower on the right-hand side. So Magic Archer doing work for everybody. 1993, 1839. Magic Archer lines up again.
Magic Archer, Ram Rider
Juice. Oh, Ram Rider's gonna connect. No, it doesn't.
The Fireball comes in, and that's gonna be
no spell. No spell. Oh, the Goblin. Oh my goodness, the Goblin was on the tower. 1728. Ooh, just a bit, and a very stressful but beautiful 2-0 there by Boom Clown.
If that Goblin hit the tower,
dude, I know, and he was there. He was hanging. It was like he came out of the drill and didn't know where he was or what he was supposed to do for a second. And the game ends. What a barn burner there. Great match. And man, I mean, it feels like that went to game number 3, but that was really just a great 2-0 by Clown. You called it, Juice.
I mean, I can't say I was surprised. He played really well. Both games were really close, like you said, but it was just a fantastic performance from Clown there. Just solid defense, solid deck picks, and a solid win.
Yeah, and that Monk in game number 2, I mean, you kind of felt it early on, just when you looked at the matchup on paper. And going back to game number 1, you know, this was that very first graveyard that came in. I don't know if Pedro had made the same mistake that I did looking at the first 4 cards, Juice, but not having that E-Spirit, it feels like that is what it had to be, right? Or maybe he just recognized it a little bit too late. But if you know you're going up against graveyard, there's no reason you would just use an E-Spirit kind of carelessly. And then you go on to game number 2 here, and this was a great chess match back and forth. It just felt like the Monk was kind of the X factor. Anything else that really stood out to you personally?
Yeah, I mean, if he did think that it was RG in that game, that's a huge mistake. After seeing 2 small spells, almost always going to be graveyard. The small spells are used to clear swarm units for the graveyard. RG decks are almost always going to have either lightning or fireball. So if it did come down to that, I mean, either. Well,
I was saying after he saw the first 3 cards, because the first 3 cards, it was just, I think, Snowball, Fisherman, and Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I guess RG deck maybe a Snowball in it. Either way, yeah. Huge Skeleton's connection on the left is definitely one Clown that game. He needs the E-Spirit. If you look at his deck right here, there's no other graveyard counters really in the deck at all. No. Fireball is never what you want to use to defend it.
Yeah, really tough there. As we go on to game number 2, you can see that the matchup not really as one-sided as it felt like game number 1 was, but really that Monk, man, that Monk just put in so much work. It felt like Pedro had a lot of good answers, but really what it came down to, you kept calling it out, Juice, was he just could not get that drill out offensively as much as he wanted. That E-Wiz and Snowball combo just wasn't where he needed defensively enough, and he ended up having to use that drill more than he'd like.
I think the other thing that Clown did really well also was he never used Goblins to defend a drill. A lot of the time with a deck like Pedro's, you want to use your Gold Knight NATO in order to connect onto the Goblins, onto the tower. Pedro never got his Gold Knight to connect, and that's just because of some smart macro decisions on defense from Clown to prevent using those Goblins, more using the Lumberjack or an Electro-Wizard to counter the drill there.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, was just like there were so many ground units, there should have been a great chain for the Golden Knight. Just didn't happen. Rich, I know that as we look at this bracket, you're excited about some of that Magic Archer play. We'll get to that in just 1 second. We have our final 4. Mo Light and Pandora, Samuel Basoto and Clown. So we're going to give Clown just a moment to kind of reset, reconfigure. Rich, any highlights from that matchup there? 2-0, Pedro just goes down.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pedro has been doing a great job on ladder, obviously, and going deep in these competitions, but just, not putting together those final steps quite yet. But Clown, the play in this one, and this game number 2 was decided by under 100 HP, but the play of the game for me was this great moment at the bridge where Clown activated the Monk as Sam was trying to, or as Pedro was trying to get the lineup with the Magic Archer, and reflected the Magic Archer damage all the way back onto the Princess Tower, and those shots game deciding. That was a game deciding activation of an ability, and maybe one of the most interesting, I've talked about this a lot, but Monk, with all the different things he does, the knockback, the tanking, the reflection, it's just become one of the most interesting cards, and that right there is a perfect example.
Yeah, I love that interaction. It was a lot of fun. It's, the Magic Archer at the bridge play, it's always so frustrating. And Juicy, I bet you can relate to this. It's one of those where it's like, do I want to spend the elixir to get on top of it? It's only going to get one more shot, but that one shot could be enough to determine the entire game. But then I'm down elixir if I try to get it off the board, and you just, I don't know. I love the Magic Archer. Then you couple it with the Monk, it just becomes one of the most frustrating things, because then you get that bridge thing taken away, that idea that you can get through to the Princess Tower. So anyway, that's enough on that matchup. Now we're here to the next matchup. It's Sam, it's Clown. We just saw both of them in the prior 2 matches. You guys are on the cast for this one, so I'll let you take it away. Based off of what you guys saw, do you have any favorites?
I mean, I kind of have to stick with Sam here, and the big one for me in this matchup is when you look at the deck pool differential. Clown has been doing really well, but he's been playing a lot of the same stuff over and over again, leaning really heavily on Hog, on Drill, on RG, and then mixing in a little bit of Piggies, a little bit of Graveyard, but there hasn't been as much deck variance as you would hope in a competition like this one, whereas Sam has just gone to every different part of the well, and his deck sets have been a little bit less predictable. We've already seen Clown run the exact same deck set more than once this weekend, or at least an almost identical deck set. So that does concern me a little bit going into this one. Juicy, I'm wondering if you see this one differently.
Yeah, I would say that Samuel's definitely the favorite, but you know, watching Clown play in that last game is just beautiful, and he's got the momentum behind his back. At the same time, Samuel, huge reverse sweep versus Moogie. I mean, I think I am gonna pick Clown here just because I love to pick an underdog, and I really think that he could do it if he just gets a couple good deck picks here.
It would be a big breakout moment for Clown, who, of course, as we say, often known as Kick-Ash, does have one top finish in the world, and that is in a sudden death global tournament. So as we said, a weekend of champions, everyone here with at least one worldwide #1 finish. This would, of course, in my opinion, even making top 3 here, Juicy, in my opinion, would be a greater accomplishment than a global tournament win. But I'm curious, how do you weigh if he makes top 3 here this weekend versus a sudden death global tournament championship?
I mean, even I have won a Royal tournament before. This is far and far above something like that. Clown definitely getting the top 3 here if he beats Sam. It's probably one of his biggest competitive achievements in his entire career.
And here we go. So possibly going back to Ram Rider for Clown. We'll see if that's the direction, but he has run this Monk Ram Rider Rage deck a lot this weekend, and Samuel Basoto right back to Hog Mortar, and there you go.
A little bit of a mistake here at the beginning here from Clown. The ability popped just a millisecond too early, not getting the deflection on that last mortar shot and the last Musketeer shot. That's going to make a huge difference. The Monk not deflecting that allows that mortar shot, but also makes it so that the Hog Rider gets a lot more hits as well, distracting the Ram Rider snare a little bit with the Musketeer.
What is going to be the key here, Juicy, for Clown in dealing with both the Hog and the mortar as those two potential win conditions?
So you 100% have to go same lane. That's #1. You have to have that macro idea to go same lane with your Monk to deflect the Musketeer shots, deflect the mortar shots, but also because you're using the Ram Rider as your main Hog Rider counter. You want to defend and counter push with the Ram Rider versus the Hog Rider. Ideally, you do both at the same time and get a counter push with the Monk in front of the Ram Rider in order to connect for some damage.
First 90 seconds away, and so far it's a nice lead for Samuel Basoto. And you see, as we talked about it, the Ram Rider being used as the primary Hog counter. Goblins come out, nice little body block there, and does prevent any connection.
Lumberjack right side, I really like that play. Got to make that dual lane pressure. Going all same lane isn't going to help as much as you might think, just because the log can get a lot of value, and that's going to be some solid damage. You know, he does get this damage to the opposite lane, Rich, but like we talked about, he's going to have to continue to defend same lane, so it's going to make those counter pushes a little bit more difficult. I love the Magic Archer idea, though, to defend on the left and counter push on the right.
I think we'll see maybe some more of that as time goes on. Monk goes in to that left-hand lane. Double elixir starting to flow. Who gets the advantage here as the elixir begins to come more quickly?
And, you know, it's a great question. I mean, I would maybe go for Clown here just because he's going to stack up those big pushes to give himself a chance to break through. At the same time, Samuel doesn't have that big spell. So, I mean, he does have the Earthquake, but he doesn't have a big spell to deal with a massive Monk Ram Rider push.
So here we go. Monk not going to be too healthy, but still is on the board. Inferno Dragon in tow. 1674 to 1063 as Clown begins that same idea. Magic Archer cycle to the right-hand side and pressure to the right here. Log easily takes care of business. And now, what is he going to do about this Hog?
I don't think he can do much here. You got the Inferno Dragon locked onto it, but the Ice Spirit stops the Ram on the right. And the Inferno Dragon, just not enough. 2 Hog hits coming through. And the mortar is looking to lock on as well. Monk did distract them.
Monk with the distraction. Hog Rider in, needs to do something to stop this. No log behind yet. Fireball, big expenditure here on the side of Clown. Sam does not connect. Inferno Dragon, desperation pickup with 90 seconds left.
And as we head into Triple Elixir, Samuel's going to start cycling some Earthquakes as well. There it is right there. Earthquake cycle, going to be able to finish out this game. He just needs 1 or 2 more.
And now, pressure in both lanes. Lumberjack plus Ram Rider right into that left-hand tower. Not going to get much damage out of it. Almost nothing from that one. Magic Archer takes a shot from the mortar, and this Hog plus EQ should be enough to finish things off. Fireball comes out. Hog gets it done. GG, well played. Samuel Basoto, game number 1. And Juicy, this is what I was talking about. That Kick Ash Clown has run that Ram Rider Rage deck over and over and over again throughout this competition. And, you know, very likely here he's going to go Hog or Drill in game number 2. Sam might have the counter already locked and loaded.
Yeah, you make a great point. Like I said, Clown needs to get some good deck picks here in order to beat a player of this caliber. In that first game, you're right, Samuel definitely predicted him. Ice Spirit, Log, Mortar, everything for the Ram Rider. And Hog Rider, a very difficult win condition to stop with a Ram Rider deck like that.
Although not looking like Drill or Hog here as the E-Giant comes out right at the bridge.
E-Giant from Clown going against Samuel with a Monk Firecracker variation. Most of the time, almost every time, E-Giant has a good matchup versus RG, so a very nice pick by Clown here. The biggest thing that he has to look forward to in order to break through is the Tornado, to pull the Fisherman into the E-Giant or potentially to the opposite lane.
Golden Knight sets up on the left-hand side, 1 minute away between these two competitors. Samuel Basoto doing a good job of continuing to vary deck picks, but not getting the exact matchup maybe he'd hoped for in this situation. What does Sam need to do to have a hope in this matchup?
He needs to do what he's doing right here. He needs to try and surprise RG at the bridge when Clown goes for an E-Giant in the back. Really bad cannon placement here as well by Clown. And for Tornado is going to have to force out, but the RG did get a shot on tower. Well played from Sam. He's going to be up some elixir after that play as well.
The get out of jail free card activated by Clown takes a little bit of damage for his efforts, but as you said, a nice 2 elixir advantage for Samuel. Does he put the pedal to the metal here?
You know, it might be the play. He might go for a Monk at the bridge and an RG another time because the double elixir is coming in. Clown is prepared with an E-Giant in the defensive. Most likely ops lane. Wow, here it comes.
Very aggressive play on the left-hand lane. Firecracker not going to get involved, just going to go ahead and no, does get the Firecracker into the mix on the left-hand lane. What does he do about this RG? Probably cycling back to a Fisherman, and there about the Electro Giant, I mean, and a perfect Nado to counter that Fisherman.
You know, he saved the Tornado for the offense in order to make this happen. Lightning going to drop on this Phoenix as well, and that's going to be damage lead. People at home might have thought Clown was in a bad situation there, but a really nice Tornado on that push forward, like I talked about earlier, is going to basically secure him guaranteed damage every time.
A little over 500 HP difference as we go into sudden death overtime. Samuel has been pulling out all the tricks so far, but tricks can only get you so far in a matchup like this one. Lightning at the bridge defensively to shut down that offensive push. And now at this point, this is interesting. Is Clown going to change tack here and go a bit more defensive?
You know, if he does do that, I'm not sure if it's going to work out for him. He needs to have good defense, but he also needs to get an E-Giant down or else he will succumb to pressure. Really nice delay on the cannon here, dodging that pre-barb barrel. Maybe he'll go for the E-Giant in the bridge right now.
And perfect timing there from my co-caster, but the lead is precarious for Clown. 34 HP separating these two. Lightning gets some work done and no effective counter push available for Samuel. He just gets aggressive at the bridge.
RG, Barbarian Barrel to tank for the cannon here once again. Really nice Tornado, but the RG does get a shot. Very close match at the moment. Golden Knight Dash not able to get the Firecracker here.
Royal Giant getting a lot of shots so far, and Firecracker stays alive. Monk gets out in front for some reflection damage.
大家好，咁呢一個月嚟咧，我哋都花咗唔少時間去沉澱同埋消化成件事啦。咁去到今日咧，我哋覺得係時候咧要同關心我哋嘅朋友咧就交代翻件事，最緊要就係講翻我哋一啲感受啊、心聲咁樣啦。咁我哋首先會講下件事係點樣啦。
正如大家都知道啦，咁嚴叔佢其實係本身係結咗婚㗎啦。咁而目前知道嘅係佢其實係同兩位荼毒室嘅室友就講大話呃咗佢哋，隱瞞咗佢自己結咗婚嘅呢一個狀態。咁而亦都同佢哋兩位分別都發展咗一個情侶嘅關係。咁呢兩位室友之間係唔知道對方嘅存在嘅，直到係去到近嚟先至，即係佢哋慢慢先至知道真相。咁呢件事入邊其實毫無疑問，呢兩位室友同埋嚴叔本身嘅屋企人咧，係一定係最大嘅受害者嚟嘅。咁佢哋呢件事入邊受到嘅傷害係我哋唔係好可以想像到係有幾大嘅傷害，而且係即我哋知道係冇辦法可以去彌補到嘅。咁對於呢件事，我哋都覺得好難過咯。其實，
咁其實喺即係發生咗呢件事1個月前左右啦。咁我哋就 keep 住一直去了解翻呢件事，跟進翻呢件事，因為我哋作為嚴肅嘅朋友，想同佢一齊好好去面對啦，處理翻佢造成嘅傷害啦。咁但係喺成個過程當中咧，我哋發現其實佢對我哋係有好多隱瞞嘅，咁甚至係對我哋都講咗好多大話嘅。咁到我哋後尾又再信翻佢啦，我哋又會發現有更加多嘅隱瞞啦，同埋大話啦。咁所以去到最尾，其實我哋好難再信落去，即係因為好多嘢我都唔知可唔可以再信落去。咁喺呢件事過程當中，其實我哋係起咗一個幾嚴重嘅衝突嘅，咁甚至係好嚴重地破壞咗我哋嘅關係啦，我哋嘅友誼啦，我哋都好難合作落去。咁我相信嚴叔都好明白呢一點，佢自己都好同意呢一點。咁所以就最尾有咗大家睇到嚴叔退出嘅決定啦。咁其實我可以話我哋同嚴叔真係好好嘅朋友。咁雖然可能我哋每一個人同佢之間嗰個友情都有唔同深淺程度啦，咁但係最終發展到呢個局面，其實我覺得係好難過。咁甚至今日仲要講翻呢件事出嚟，其實對我哋嚟講都好唔容易。咁我自己覺得其實最難過就係，因為我哋一齊真係識咗好多年，共事咗好耐。由一齊搞節譜啦，一齊去創辦荼毒室啦，一齊經歷好多風風雨雨啊！面對可能人哋嘅批評啦，咁我哋咪一齊諗點樣去處理啦，我哋一齊去笑翻啦，笑翻啲事啦咁樣。咁經歷咗好多嘢，咁但係就係唔知幾時開始咧，我哋嘅關係變到咁樣，好似咧我哋之間要好多防備，我哋要諗下到底你咁樣講，其實係咪真嘅咧？你咁樣講係咪想達到某啲目標咧？咁所以成個關係好似變晒，我哋好似唔再係以前咁咯。我哋之間好有芥蒂，好多嘢要防範。咁我覺得對我嚟講呢一個係最可惜嘅，因為對我嚟講荼毒室並唔係淨係一個工作嘅平台咯。荼毒室係我哋成班人好難得地可以揾到大家，然後可以咁樣合作落去，做到好好嘅朋友。咁所以你問我，我覺得其中一個即係喺呢段日子度失去咗最寶貴嘅嘢，就係我哋之間嗰段關係咯。
其實呢件事發生咗，即係都一段時間啦，沉澱起嚟。其實有一個畫面我成日都諗翻起嘅，就係喺我哋荼毒室成立5週年嘅時候，我哋就拍咗一條片，去每一個人講下呢5年嚟嗰陣時5年嚟嘅感受啦。我記得有一個問題就係問我如果荼毒室有一朝一日係解散嘅話，你覺得係咩原因呢？我嗰陣時好肯定咁樣講，就係如果真係解散，咁啊應該係外部嘅原因，因為我哋對自己所有嘅成員其實好有信心，嗰個信任都好強。當然而家唔係話要解散啦，但係呢件事對
defense. Cannon's going to drop here. He needs an E-Giant. There it is.
E-Giant goes to the right-hand lane, attempt prediction at the Fisherman. Into the middle, Barbell doesn't get it, and now the Fisherman, great NATO to pull away. Is this E-Giant going to be the end? Lightning in, and we're going to game number 3.
GG's, really nice Barbarian Barrel over the river there. His Tornado wasn't in cycle right away, so he needed to predict in order to make sure to cycle to it. And then once again, like we talked about, you can have 2 options versus the Fisherman. Pull it into the E-Giant or pull it all the way to the ops lane in order to get as much E-Giant damage as possible. Perfect play. Very nice reaction time from Clown there.
NATO out for Clown, so here's the big question. Where is he going? Hog potentially available, and maybe Piggies as we see the Zappies come down. He did play Piggies Mirror yesterday against Mohamed Light. Didn't quite work out the way he wanted. Little extra pressure. Maybe he's learned from yesterday's race to the barn, if you will.
Fisherman, Arrows, Zappies. Definitely could be that deck like you said. Also could be a Graveyard variation. Samuel at the top here with a minor arrows, or sorry, archers and Mega Man and Snowball. Maybe just a minor control deck. Potentially could be a balloon deck as well.
And Giant Skeleton certainly makes it feel more like Loon as the first minute passes away.
Giant Skelly going to drop from Clown as well. Definitely going to be that Piggies deck that you called out. Interesting matchup. Here comes the balloon at the bridge. Giant Skelly is tanking.
And the Zappies seem like they're the best option. I mean, I know the Mother Witch does some damage, but you see those Zappies and they just get absolutely ruined. Huge damage early from Sam.
Here comes a counter push. Fisherman at the bridge. It is going to lock in the tower. Archers are going to drop, and Clown doesn't have enough elixir for the arrows right away. Mother Witch is going to lock on, though. He spawned another Piggy.
So what does Clown do at this point? I mean, he's taken a ton of damage, doesn't have phenomenal answers for that balloon. Assuming that that is Mirror, he has no building to control it. He has actually really very little control ability except for those Zappies that already got ruined. But of course, now we're seeing tons of damage on the right, courtesy of those pigs.
I really like this play Clown's making right now. This is what he has to do. He has to run his opponent thin on elixir and force out that berry tower or that bomb tower on something else. Now he's going to have the availability to maybe outcycle and get another round of pigs down. No, he just goes to the Giant Skelly in the back. It's going to be tough. Maybe the Mirror is his last card, though. If the Mirror is his last card, maybe he can mirror his Zappies on the defense versus the balloon.
Let's see if that's the case. Decides to not play aggressive after yesterday's hyper-aggressive gameplay. Snowball, and no, he goes Piggies to the right now. Bomb tower up high. With no real help, those Piggies will be taken care of pretty nicely. The mirrored pigs come in behind, though.
And the arrows on the Archer, defensive arrows from Samuel. Piggies are connecting. Those are level 12 pigs on the towers, ladies and gentlemen. Towers down to 327, and there's only 20 seconds left.
So here we go. Zappies down. Giant Skeleton taking on the right-hand side. Archer's trying to work on the left-hand side. Piggy's going to go into not a bomb tower here. No, bomb tower does come down late. Miner working against the the Royal Ghost on the left-hand side. And those mirrored pigs one more time. The lane switch here. Is this the right call? It's a lot of damage, and those level 12 Piggies having a snack.
You know, you make a great point here. I'm wondering if this could be a repeat of yesterday versus Mohalite with the mirror to Piggies opposite lane mistake. Here comes the balloon and the Mega Man and the Miner. Can he defend this?
Loon trying to get its way through. Snowball to clear. Zappies do not go off the board. Can the Loon connect? Gets one. Arrows get in time. And take a look at that. Put that on his resume, folks. Clown takes down Samuel Basoto, and suddenly a contender here in CRL 2023.
I don't know if you saw it, Rich, but the Mother Witch sneakily got a hit on the right-hand side tower. The bomb tower from Sam did not come down in time, and that made it so the arrows did enough damage to take it out to secure him the win.
And, you know, that's Sam maybe watching a little bit on that Loon on the left-hand side, trying to figure out some way to connect. And you can see the look of joy on Clown's face here. You know, came in as maybe one of the biggest underdogs in the competition, and so far proving everybody to everyone in Clash Royale that he belongs here this weekend.
You know, I'm almost excited as he did because I picked him for my prediction, and I'm loving it, man. I love the smile on his face. I hope that he continues to take some wins. Next match is going to be versus the loser, or the winner, no, the loser of Mohamed Light versus Pandora. And if he can win that, he will secure himself a golden ticket, most likely. Depending if Mohamed Light does get first place, you know.
Yeah, let's not go ahead and count Pandora out yet. We have some Clash Royale to play, but this was the E-Giant play here in game number 2, and everything that you said he needed to do, did it to perfection, controlling with those NATOs. But then here, the Mirror Pigs problems from yesterday against Mohamed Light, definitely more measured choices in this matchup today.
Yeah, I was scared when he went Pigs right here. Oh, sorry, this is a different time. But when he went Pigs on the left earlier, before this play right here, before this defense, I was kind of scared because this balloon hit would have basically lost him the game. But as you can see on the right-hand side, that Mother Witch somehow sneakily getting that hit, and the arrows were able to do enough.
The best highlights of the weekend so far, Clown bringing them for us against Pedro. The fancy play, especially in that very close under 100 HP game, and then now here against Samuel Basoto.
對我嘅好大嘅震撼就係、原來我哋即係識咗咁耐，奮鬥咗咁耐，經歷咗咁多事啦，即係數以10幾年計，諗翻起。嗰份信任係可以係因為一啲唔係好長時期嘅摩擦衝突就係破裂嘅，所以係好難受嘅，的確，同埋係要花好長嘅時間去平復。咁我相信其實大部分嘅成員甚至所有到呢一刻其實都係難以平復晒，好似變翻未發生過一樣，甚至可能其實永遠都係唔能夠平復嘅呢件事。我自己好大嘅感覺就係、雖然有啲老土咁樣講，原來信任呢樣嘢係好重要，而我自己會覺得真係要珍惜一啲可能相信你嘅人，無論係朋友、情侶、屋企人，同埋唔好做一啲事去令人失去對你嘅信任。
咁呢段時間都好辛苦，其實就係、哇一時之間咧，嗰個網絡啊，好多意見、好多聲音、好多批評咁樣，好似走晒出嚟咁啊！嗰一啲對我哋呢一個團體嘅批評，咁係好難捱嘅，即係呢一啲嘢。咁啊成日睇住個連燈啊，跟住啲 comment 又點樣啊，跟住個精神係好繃緊嘅長時間。呢啲的確係好辛苦，但係我自己。最唔開心嘅地方，我諗同你哋都差唔多。我最唔開心嘅地方就係同嚴叔嘅關係好似有一啲變咗質咁咯。因為咧我哋搞呢一個陶錄室咧，中間發生咗好多嘢啦。而咧，我慢慢咁覺得其實原來對於我係好重要嘅，即係陶錄室呢一個團體，即係大家一齊合力做一件事咧。我以前係未試過咁有歸屬感嘅，對於某一個團體。咁跟住。原來都幾開心喎，好似大家嘅感情又喺做呢啲事嘅時候一路建立翻嚟。咁咧，我依家諗翻轉頭啦，即係好多我生命入邊幾重要嘅 moment， 其實都係即係大家都有份咯。咁嚴叔當然係其中一個好重要嘅人啦。我成日同佢有好多嘅合作啊，一齊講 talk 啊，一齊傾偈啊咁啊，所以。無可避免，即係我一諗翻呢啲喺我生命入邊幾重要嘅嘢，嚴叔都在場。跟住依家睇翻轉頭咧，就好似有一種失落咯，即係無奈發生咗一啲咁樣嘅事啦，好似就令得我哋嘅關係有一啲變化咁樣，咁就唔可以再合作落去咁我自己就覺得好可惜㗎，即係呢一樣嘢對於我個人嚟講咁咯。咁就另外啦，以陶讀室呢一個團體嚟講咧，冇咗嚴叔咧，我估大家都知道㗎啦。其實佢係一個喺我哋呢一個團體入邊幾重要嘅一個成員啦，去做好多嘢嘅係咁的確會令得我哋陶讀室將來咧可能會有啲變化嘅。咁但係咧，我唔希望因為呢一件事就完結咯，陶讀室。即係我仲想玩落去嘅，即係呢一個陶讀室呢一個團體。咁接下來會點樣咧？咁我自己都希望繼續做啦。咁我會即係認真啲咯，嘗試即係拍一啲認真嘅片啊，繼續做翻我哋原本做開嘅嘢啊，咁樣咯。咁睇下我哋仲可以做到幾多嘢啦？睇下大眾會唔會接受我哋。
just another and await his fate. Will he be going up against Mohamed Light in the lower bracket finals, or will he be going up against Pandora in the lower bracket finals? And this is a really fascinating matchup, everybody, because you have the presumptive favorite, and it feels like if Mohamed Light wins, he just is going to go and run through everything. He'll have the not only the grand final position, but he'll also have the extra life to give, right? He'll have the ability to lose a final and then run it back, because reminder to those of you watching at home that it is double elimination. You have to imagine that Clown wants to face Pandora first, but man, it's also that fear of, well, giving Mohamed Light that position. Let's go ahead and focus on the match in front of us, folks. Mohamed Light versus Pandora. Is anybody here picking Pandora? And the answer is no.
The answer is definitely no. It's too hard, and it makes no sense to bet against Mohamed Light right now. No matter what conversation you want to have with yourself, no matter what mental gymnastics you want to do, even Pandora probably goes, I can beat Mohamed Light, but if I was a betting man, I'd probably bet on Mohamed Light.
That's pretty fair here. I mean, Juicy, we asked the question 1,000 times. We'll ask it 1,000 times more, it seems. What do you do to beat Mohamed Light here?
I mean, that's one of the toughest questions to ever be asked. You have to get the good dad picks, number one, but against Jeebus, Mohamed Light's coach, that is already a hefty task. You also have to play in a way that is unpredictable and maybe get around some more solid gameplay. Like, you don't want to go into a minor poison mirror matchup, for example, versus Mohamed Light, because he's just that good. And then the last thing is, we've talked about it before, you need to have a good mindset. A lot of the time, I think that these pros are just in the mindset of, okay, he's just the best, I can't beat him. Like, you have to have confidence in Clash Royale in order to win. And that's another thing Pandora needs to climb, like another mountain to climb over for him to win this match.
I'm talking about mindset here. Pandora in this road, people he's beaten in the group stage, beat Surgical Goblin twice, then beat Pedro and Samuel Basoto earlier in this bracket, so hopefully the mindset's there. But Andrew, you talk about X factors for Mohamed Light, you could talk about the dual lane pressure, you could talk about the macro management. The mindset for this player is also one of those things where you talk about players making mistakes late, the pressure just never seems to crack Mohamed Light's shell.
Yeah, and then you look at his gameplay over the last couple days. I mean, we didn't get a lot of it, unfortunately. We only got quick 4 games, and a lot of those games were decided very, very early on. I think what Juicy said is really key. I mean, don't try to out-control or outsmart Mohamed Light in terms of micro. I think you play comfort, and I think you probably go just a little bit heavier. It's a little bit more forgiving in terms of him making a mistake and you being able to go downhill. I think that if you are going super micro, super, control-based, he's probably going to beat you in that game unless it's like a really bad matchup. And then, I think for the mentality, you just have to remember that, like, Mo's lost. He's lost, a handful of times. I was going to say a lot, but I don't know if we can even say a lot. I think that's it. I think you can play your own game, and that's it. I think trying to beat Mo otherwise is tough. Pandora's hyped right now, and I think for Pandora, this is a lot more of a conversation about what he's expecting at the end of the year when he's at World Finals once again, because he's going to see him there. So, Juice, we'll see you in just a minute. Let's get back to the GOAT, our reigning world champion, top of your screen, Mohamed Light, and of course, Pandora, a great world finalist in and of his own, and, a repeat customer at World Finals.
A repeat customer indeed, looking to do it one more time. And of course, both these guys with some really top teams here in Clash Royale 2023. Shot Kalalis for Mohamed Light and Rising Sun Esports for Pandora. A nice little easy King Tower activation here to open things up.
And we saw this yesterday, Mo playing Hog EQ. He could do it with Giant Skeleton. He can do it with Mighty Miner. It does not matter. He could do it with Valkyrie. It's always a treat to watch him play. We'll see if Pandora has a way around it.
And what a activation from the Mighty Miner, the bomb, knocking the Golden Knight off of his path and over towards that mortar. So really fun stuff here from Mohamed Light early, going Hog Mortar, which he's been more running just straight Hog Cycle as of late.
Yeah, Hog Mortar has been pretty popular. There's been even Royal Hogs Mortar with basically actually the same makeup that you're seeing so far, but instead it's Royal Hogs instead of Hog Rider. going to be nice to have the faster cycle, and of course, Mo just seems to favor Hog. But the biggest thing about it is the delivery. It feels like delivery is showing up a lot more, and it makes sense, you know, with Lava Hound coming back in, Bloon coming back in, dealing with decks like this, being able to drop a delivery at the bridge and eat up a couple of the charges if you have, you know, I'd say one of the, yeah, a couple of the charges. We're talking about that Golden Knight as well. Happy to see delivery back.
And Pandora runs a few different drill variations. And since we have yet to see skeletons, imagining he might be going with a giant skeleton version here, we'll see if that's the case.
And I like here, and you know, we always got to give credit where credit's due to Jebez, and he knows that we are all big fans of him. But you know, Mo hasn't ran this version in April, right? He's run the other version. He's run the giant skeleton AQ version, but he hasn't run this one specifically at CRL, which is just really nice to see that he's always keeping his game fresh.
And that's kind of the key. I mean, let's not call anything the key. That's one of the many pieces of the puzzle people have to solve here against Mohamed Light. Is not only does he have all those other tools in his belt, it's the continued deck and variation within certain decks. And so far working out very well for him as he goes with a nice Hog guards behind to deal with the defense that's been happening so far, but well picked up by Pandora.
It's just great because he sees the Dark Princes in the back. He goes Hog guards at the bridge. He knows that he's going to have to get an overspend from his opponent, or he's going to have to play that drill defensively, which Pandora obviously does not want to do. So Mo gets a good bit of damage in there. The other thing that I really like that Mo's doing already, and this is something that a lot of Mortar players need to do when they're going up against this type of matchup, is, yo, there's no big spell. Let's play that Mortar defensively. Mortar is one of the best defensive buildings that there is. The only way that he can cause trouble with that is getting his Magic Archer across the middle, but you have great ways to take care of the Magic Archer, and then you don't have to worry about the Magic Archers. So I love what Mohamed Light's doing.
90 seconds left, and having to spend a whole lot, as you just talked about, on these defenses. Barb Barrel plus the Golden Knight to work on this Musketeer. Drill going into the same lane here. Golden Knight gets picked up by the Mortar High guards to control against this Drill.
And another Hog Rider coming down the lane does get NATO'd back, but Mohamed Light just firmly in control with only a minute remaining. It's just all about Pandora getting some massive connection. And Mo, look at that, just a quick draw there to get that EQ in to make sure that this cannon cart is very easily dealt with. Love to see that as well.
And that's just perfect decision making with the chip by the log on top of everything. So you see this little light there for a moment for Pandora. Hey, I have a fairly healthy cannon cart ready to go the opposite direction, and understanding interaction knowledge pays off very well for the man who gets paid very well with all of his Clash Royale wins.
And again, you know, Pandora's got 30 seconds remaining. Mohamed Light has defense completely locked down time and time again. He's not getting a hog hit there, but he's still creating enough pressure to see 9 Elixir come out in the lane that Pandora is not focusing on. You don't want to go in the same lane because that delivery is just getting so much value.
I was about to say the same thing, Andrew. That delivery is just shutting down every hope that Pandora has of creating a significant counter push, and then the use of these guards to clean up these drills. It's just been a bad situation from top to bottom for Pandora, and now Mohamed Light doing what he does and going into game 2 with an advantage.
And it's funny because I watch Juicy's streams. I'm looking at Pandora right now, and they have a very similar look on their face when you lose to Mohamed Light, which is, what am I supposed to do? How do I beat him? He's like Juicy, I remember one time was just yelling, he's so good. He's so good. Like whole time he was playing. And I actually think Juicy ended up winning one of those games because Mo made a mistake late. But it's very similar. You look at the look on Pandora's face, there's no frustration. It's just respect. And it's also disbelief of like, I couldn't even touch him. I'm one of the best in the world and I couldn't even touch Mohamed Light.
And maybe Ram Rider here for Mo in game number 2. Interesting, he has gone with Royal Giant pretty consistently throughout these competitions. I'm usually played it in game 1 or game 2, so a little variance in deck order out of Mohamed Light, going with this Ram Rage deck.
And nice low Musketeer there. You see Mo looking for something with that Magic Archer, but the Musketeer just low enough. But this Mighty Miner, the placement with the Monk, actually that push might help for a little bit. And there you go. Ice Spirit has to come down. Still gets two, only gets the one shot.
Lead for Pandora early on. 24-16 left-hand lane, and we'll add a bit more chip to this side. Mo sets up on the weak hand side.
And trying to go hog EQ against one of the best in the world with hog EQ. Going to be interesting with all the firepower that Mohamed Light has, and of course the Ram Rider.
Pandora's had success with this deck this weekend, taking down Pedro with it in game 2 of their matchup.
That
of course, a very different situation.
Quite a bit of value. Mo not having a lot in the tank to deal with this.
Well, this is what we kind of saw earlier between Hog EQ and this deck, right? Is that one of the hard parts about defending against it is you don't have a building, you don't have the NATO control, so you have to use Ram Rider plus damage to take care of those hogs, and that's simply not easy to do. Not easy to do consistently, at least.
And here we go. We're going to probably see Ice Spirit, a late log. We'll see. Doesn't need the log. Guards come, or excuse me, goblins come down instead. I was going to say I'm happy to see how much guards have been starting to be played again. Again, with Arrow being a little bit less popular, guards are coming back.
And there you go. See another hog hit get in, and that's the problem here for Mo, is he's going to give up a hog hit pretty consistently. Mighty Miner fails to pick up the Lumberjack.
I think the biggest thing for Mo here is just not losing that tower before he gets into double elixir, and then going same lane. We'll see what he can do. The EQ cycle coming in already. It just feels like Pandora recognizes how great of a lead he has. And still,
wow.
Still that hog got a hit.
A great Mighty Miner ability to open up that opportunity with the knockback of the bomb. So at this point, you got to be thinking that Mo and Jebas are sitting back and thinking a little bit more about game number 3. Of course, you don't want to count anything yet until the towers are actually down, but looking dire here in game 2.
Yeah, very curious to see what Mo and Jebas are going to go to in game number 3. We did see him play a little bit more Lava Hound earlier, which was a little interesting, and I know that Lava's been showing up a bit more. We haven't had a lot of game 3s, and we haven't had any game 3s with Mohamed Light, so I'm just excited to see what the two of them have planned, as he's still trying to make a case for himself, but only 160 remaining. Just need to get that EQ login, and we're going to game number 3.
And there you go. GG, well played. Game 3 on its way. And looking at these decks here, Hog plus the Ram Rage. NATO out on the side of Pandora, possibly seeing some sort of minor play out of Mohamed Light. He has played RG in almost every set, though. We'll see if Pandora tries to snipe that.
I want to see him go to the skies. There's a lot of air taken off the board here for Pandora. He's got no Magic Archer, no Musketeer, no E-Wiz, no NATO. Could be fun, but instead it looks like we're going to see E-Giant.
Pandora has played a lot of Lava in this competition. So let's see. Pandora played Lava against Surgical Goblin twice during the group stage. Certainly comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Not going to be Lava, though.
Not going to be Lava, unfortunately. I don't know why I want to see Lava. I mean, I guess that just goes to show how long it's been since it's been popular.
And a nice little slow start here compared to how frenetic the gameplay has been so far.
Yeah, and Mo playing this deck, for some reason, it just kind of scares me for Pandora. I feel like him slow playing this, he should be able to control the board pretty well for a while.
Well, he certainly is good with just about everything.
Okay, so the Mirror Giant Skeleton. Pandora decides to show his cards.
Well, and maybe he was feeling like the Mirror Pigs play. You know, he saw how Mirrored Pigs nearly won it for Clown against Mohamed Light the other day. Maybe thought, hey, I can do the same thing with a better result.
Yeah, and Mo there, not too happy about pulling the trigger on his Golden Knight ability. You can tell he was kind of late playing it to see if the Giant Skeletons were close enough and didn't get anything out of the dash. Not too happy about that, and still has enough to defend, but is down 1. Bomber on the board.
And Bomber is really, really great at forcing annoying negative elixir trades. You consistently have to deal with it, but there's very few ways to deal with it that don't cost you at least 1 extra.
Yeah, I mean, ideally for Pandora, it's just having that Royal Ghost, but, you know, Mo recognizing Royal Ghost is out of cycle. It was just recently played. I mean, obviously the Bomber was also played defensively, but just a nice little moment there for the Prince of Egypt. As you can see, Pandora starting to build a little bit of pressure in the opposite lane. One of my favorite plays with the Royal Ghost.
And here you're talking about Ghost going right to that Bomber, taking care of business. E-Giant going to get eaten up here in the middle. And if you're a Clown watching at home right now, you're really hoping that Mohamed Light pulls this one out. You do not want to be in the problem of facing Mohamed Light in an elimination match.
Yeah, I mean, you find yourself in having to play what feels like 2 golden ticket finals.
So here we go, sudden death on its way. At the moment, Pandora with a lot on the board and an overall lead, but the question is how long will that be maintained? Barb Barrel goes to help that Electro Giant, gets the Fisherman off the board, and E-Giant will get a little reflection damage on that tower.
And I really like how Pandora's just taking his time here, not getting too aggressive. We haven't seen any mirrored pigs come out. Obviously, Mo knows that that's a problem, or knows that can be a problem. Flying Machine sneaks in just in time, take that cannon off the board. And I was going to say, now we got to see those Royal Hogs come out, but Mo knows it, already back to another cannon. But this is where that mirrored cannon conversation, excuse me, mirrored Hogs conversation comes in.
Yeah, the bomb tower helping out a lot there, and we'll see not pulling the trigger. And, you know, we're seeing Pandora play this very slowly, not try to get too aggressive too early, get down on an elixir in a moment where Mo has an opportunity to really take advantage, capitalize, and counter push.
And Mo's doing a really good job of kind of being in control of his 3-card cycle. You see Cannon comes out early when he doesn't have a Golden Knight on the board, so he can second cycle a Cannon if necessary. And then the other times we see the Golden Knight staying on the board with the 3-card cycle. It just makes it very easy for Mo to get back around. So just again, like Mohamed Light recognizing the macro of the matchup. Yes, he is down right now, but the thing that he needs to have is always have enough defense to deal with the Royal Hogs. And there you go, second cannon down. Does have Bomber if he needs for another set, but with the pressure, he can't get, Pandora cannot get another set of Royal Hogs out.
And lightning from Mo on offense, trying to take care of something, but can't do it. And now this Flying Machine buried on defense could be a problem, as again, Mohamed Light can't get to it the way he's wanted to. NATO pulls it all together. Will reflection damage be sufficient? Does not take the lead here. Lightning cycle.
And that's it. Pandora's gonna do it. Mo can't get another lightning down. There's the Hogs coming in. NATO's in. Lightning. Where's the lightning? No lightning. And Mohamed Light, Pandora does it. Oh, I forgot we already. I was gonna actually pick Pandora because I forgot we did our predictions, but then they showed up on the screen. I was like, oh yeah, we already all picked Mo. But man, Pandora does it. Takes down the world champ. You love to see it.
And I mean, look at the celebration from him. He's been so emotive this entire weekend. So excited. We've seen it. Every time he wins, just super duper pumped. And you know, considering how reserved everybody is in this game, you love the passion out of Pandora. And why not? You just beat the guy who is the #1 on the planet and took one step closer. Now you just gotta hope that somehow, some way, Mo loses 2 in a row and you don't have to face him in a grand final.
Yeah, I mean,
beginning. Notice the defense from Pandora. He didn't use the Zabbies on defense for that first E-Giant. He went Mirror Giant Skeleton. And that's what prevented that early Golden Knight dash. Once again, if Mo got that Golden Knight dash, that would have been game. And the other thing to talk about is the fact that Golden Knight nerf, right? The half HP tile nerf, it matters.
咁其實我都想講下，即係呢段時間有咩感受啦。其實傷心啊、難過、嬲、失望，咁呢啲嘢都係有發生過嘅。但係去到今日咧，我就覺得都起碼叫做過咗少少啦。所以係去到呢一刻，我自己嗰個心情係叫做放鬆啦，所以先至可以坐喺度同大家講嘢啦。但係中間咧嗰段時間係好似 Alex 所講係非常之震撼嘅，係件事一發生嘅時候，我哋大家都係非常之驚慌。咁啊，我哋都開咗好多次 call 啦，大家傾咗好多偈啦，咁甚至有成員即係半講笑咁講話嗰段時間同我哋傾偈咧多過同佢另一半講嘢，咁即係聽落去好似好好笑咁啦，但係中間係個過程係非常之煎熬嘅，因為我哋係處於一個非常之大嘅壓力啦，面對住唔同嘅批評，包括就係呢個時間點解你會講嘢咧，或者呢個時間點解你唔講嘢咧咁樣，咁所以中間嗰段時間係好難捱嘅，我哋一路喺度諗處理呢件事要點做，其實都講真嗰句就冇乜嘢可以做。但係最大嘅幫助就係我哋之間會互相傾訴，同埋處理翻自己嗰個情緒同埋感受，同埋處理我哋自己關係嘅一啲東西。咁所以呢段時間叫做過咗，即係最難捱嘅時間咧。我覺得我自己覺得，或者我真心希望真係過咗去咁樣。咁但係嚟緊我都希望我哋荼毒室位所有受影響嘅人都可以。即係諗個方法可以重新再上路。咁啊，另外一樣嘢就係都好重要嘅，就係呢個亦都係即係豬民都好關注嘅一樣嘢咧，就係我哋同室友嘅關係。因為荼毒室唔單止係我哋幾個即係10幾個成員嘅一個 project 啦，當然都係好重要啦。但係亦都係好多人嘅精神支柱啦，包括我哋嘅觀眾、關心我哋嘅朋友或者我哋嘅會員。咁但係喺呢件事入邊咧，唔多唔少都可以話係有啲嘢失去咗，就係我哋之間嗰個信任啦。因為大家會有好多唔同嘅猜測啊，有好多唔同嘅批評嘅意見啊，甚至即係可能會諗一樣嘢，就係究竟呢一班人係咪我當初認識了解嘅嗰班人咧？究竟係咪已經
so much in that situation.
Against him, he's come out with a pretty big performance.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in class, first time we've seen him run Inferno Tower this month, and you know why. You know why. He's got a great coach, and he goes, all right, let's just go back to Hog EQ because you can beat anyone with it, but instead of Cannon, let's go bomb. No, instead of let's just go Inferno because we're playing against Clown.
Yeah, actually just so fascinating just predicting the Giant Skelly Loon. Not only is it going to be great secondary air defense versus the Loon guys, but the Giant Skeleton gets absolutely shredded by that Inferno Tower as well. Arch Queen in the back here from Mo, Hunter from Clown. Clown needs to maybe get a minor prediction on the Inferno Tower in order to break through later in this match.
I know, Juice. I was just like, between the Ice Spirit, the Inferno, and the fact that you have an Archer Queen that has no way to get spelled off the board, it's just a really, really tough matchup for Boom Clown.
Yep, no big spell, take it out, and also the no reset with the Zap Snowball. A great small spell to knock things around, but no reset. There's that prediction minor on the Inferno, like I said. I don't know if that's going to be enough to break through.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, it's the second time now where you've said exactly what Boom Clown needs to do, and he does it. The problem is he's going up against Mo. So you saw there, Mo set the line really high with the guards, knowing that Boom Clown was most likely going to go in with the balloon push, keeps that Giant Skeleton at bay so that the tower and the Inferno can focus on the balloon, and then is ready to go to catch that miner. So, again, you think about a way to get through Mohammed Light, and you got to think about 3 more ways, because maybe one of them will work.
Not to mention the Ice Spirit just so overpowered, freezing for 1.5 seconds, allowing that Inferno Tower to shred everything. And the Hog Riders for Mo. Every single time he plays one, it seems like he gets a hit.
Yep, and the defense just immaculate. He does the great decision-making there. He goes, all right, what do I need to do? Let's actually ignore the miner. Let's get the Inferno down. Let's Ice Spirit on top of the balloon. Then we'll deal with the miner at the very end. It's all about recognizing priorities, what's the most important to take off, what does the most damage, all that stuff. He's making split-second decisions.
Speaking of priorities, did you see at the end there where he used the Archer Queen ability way late in order to tank for the Hog Rider, just enough to get that hog hit?
Yeah, he's done that a couple times. The AQ to tank for the hog, then the late ability. The sequencing is just excellent, but BoomClown takes a great hit there. Mohamed Light's defense is kind of starting to get picked through. So now we'll see if he starts to change it up at all. The arrow's doing a good job on those guards.
Yeah, that's what he has to keep doing, right? He has to get the prediction mine in the Inferno. He has to get the arrows in the guards. Mo somehow cycling back to another Inferno here. The other thing to look out for is those Ice Spirits. The only reason he was able to get that other balloon hit was somehow the Ice Spirit was able to go down to the Hunter and not jump on the balloon there.
Yeah, that was a really, the fact that the Hunter was able to hit that, plus the guards getting arrowed off the board, was kind of all things going right. The perfect storm, if you will, for BoomClown, as Mohamed Light doesn't get a hog hit this time, but does get the EQ damage. And a very close matchup here. Going right back with another hog with the AQ staying on the board. Quick 3-card cycle. Hog gets a hit. That's massive, Juice.
Clown needs the snowball defense for these Hog Riders. The Hog Riders getting hit every single time. Here comes the counter push, but the Earthquake is down, and here is the log. And the
Ice Spirit jumped to the miner. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Sheesh.
Oh,
very close
you
game.
love to see it.
You really do. I mean, yeah, I said it already, but the only way that Clown was able to win that game is he needed to save the snowball more often for the Hog Riders. Hog Riders actually, or snowball's one of the best counters to hog. If you pair the snowball with anything, you can almost fully counter hog every time.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those things where, you know, Mo's coach gave him an excellent advantage. BoomClown did a really good job of almost playing all the way through it. And then, you know, Mo, that double-cycled Inferno Tower, you know, about 3/4 of the way through the game was a really important moment.
Yeah, not only stopped the balloon hits, but also the death damage as well.
So Mo also a big fan of this deck, usually just runs Zap, and usually does a very good job of just overwhelming with exactly what you're seeing right now, is MK plus Prince, and then just pour it on with the Bandit and the Wall Breakers. Let's go.
Ability just barely come out in time to tank and kill the archers here. Wall Breakers are going to connect. Prince going to get hit here as well.
And you can see there already, Clown just... It's just so deflating, right? He just battled it out for with Mo for so long in a tough matchup, ends up losing the game, and now you're down a game in a best-of-3, and Mohamed Light starts early with already 1,300-ish damage on your tower.
And it's wild to put a huge push like that together in single elixir, but with this deck it works because the Mega Knight Prince combo is just so threatening. Like, it's not a push where you can just let it go and maybe try and counterattack, because you are gonna get 3-crowned.
Oh my gosh, that sequence was the worst thing I've ever seen for one player. The MK comes down late, it distracts the Mother Witch, then jumps across the bridge to kill the Mother Witch, then jumps away from the Fisherman on the egg so the Fisherman doesn't pull, then Mo's Miner distracts the Fish Boy, and now we're left with 687 HP. That was the worst sequence I've ever seen for one player.
Not to mention the Monk pushing the Mega Knight away at the perfect time, so the E-Spirit did not hit the Phoenix, and the Phoenix got value killing the Fisherman.
Oh, we gotta watch that again on replay, just please. BoomClown needs a divine intervention at this point. As Rich would say, he needs Mohamed Light's phone to break. 687, 3052, working down the left-hand lane. Technically damage on the right-hand side for BoomClown, but not a lot.
Miner here taking out the Mother Witch. Fisherman pulling in the Mega Knight. Another Mother Witch on the board here, trying to spawn some piggies. Arrows cleaning everything up, though, and now the Prince Archers pretty healthy. Prince gonna take the Mother Witch out. This counterpush looking grueling. Clown does not have the Barbarian Barrel and cycle, and these Wall Breakers are gonna connect.
I mean, Mo just basically dropped everything at the bridge, and then Clown would spend an arm and a leg to defend, and then after all of it, Mo would then send in Wall Breakers, time and time again. There was just never enough in the tank, no way to defend, and that's just one of those things that kind of puts into perspective how impressive and also why we got the reaction out of Pandora that we did, right? BoomClown has been dominant throughout this entire competition, and he just got put on blast by Mohamed Light.
Yeah, we've seen him do so many good things, but going against the world champ, that's a whole nother level of caliber. It's really tough to pick BoomClown in a matchup like that. Now we're heading into the final bracket. We got Mohamed Light coming up gonna face against Pandora. He has to beat him twice, though, in order to.
But Juicy, you got to remember, Pandora secured golden ticket to World Finals. Muhammad Light already has one, and Pandora with the loss there, just sitting back going, please, please, Muhammad Light, do what you do best. A quick 2-0. Pandora going back to World Finals. 2 repeat customers already. The champion, and of course Pandora, who is looking to become a champion. Very, very excited for him. Very happy for him. As I mentioned, he is just ready to go in 2023, wants to be the champion, and now he's going to go and take a nap because he earned, well, actually, he's got one more set, so probably want to play that first. But golden ticket winner for April, and our second world finalist, Pandora. And, you know, we're going to take a look here at some of the highlights from Mo Boom Clown. And, you know, Rich said there was a lot of highlights given by Boom Clown. Juicy, it felt like this whole set was all just highlights of Muhammad Light.
Yeah, Muhammad Light always getting the hog rider through. Earthquake log cycled, high guards, always blocking Giants at the bridge, making the balloon go in front. Multiple Inferno Towers in the defense. Ice Spirit's always on point. Muhammad Light doing what he does best.
Muhammad Light securing a minimum of $10,000 more to make it already 26 on the year. But of course, that's only if he loses to Pandora. He's still got a life to give. Boom Clown walking away with 3rd place. Great leaderboard finish there. Great leaderboard points. And of course, $7,000 for him. But a quick trip home by the GOAT there in his final set of this April competition. And then there were 2. We said goodbye to Tico and OP Sam yesterday. Mugi was the first one to go down today, then Pedro. Then it was Basoto who walked away with 4K. And then, of course, Clown with 7. As you can see right here, Muhammad Light just going back to Hog EQ. Juicy, over and over. I'm going to run Hog EQ. I'll run different variations of it. There's nothing you can do to beat Mo and Hog EQ.
He really is the best on that deck. A reminder to everyone at home, not only do you make it to the World Finals by getting a golden ticket, but there's another way. You can collect points, and with enough points, you can secure your spot at a World Finals. And that's what Clown is trying to do right here. Even though he only got 3rd place, he is going to be able to collect those points and maybe give himself a chance to get there.
Yeah, it's a lot of points to be got here by Clown and a lot of money early on here. A lot of time left. You know, 5 more monthly finalist golden ticket holders will be given out before we get there. Muhammad Light in game number 2, just Mega Knight plus Prince plus everything else. There's no way to defend as we get to our grand finals. There could be a reset. Rich, we have our second golden ticket holder in Pandora. First of all, how you feel about that? I know you're also a fan of Pandora. And then secondly, can he beat Muhammad Light in back-to-back sets?
Well, the first part of it is congrats, Pandora. He's a really fun guy to watch, and I know that 3 times in a row for World Finals, that's a big accomplishment. So right there, that's the thing you take with you all the time. Gets to travel to World Finals again. I know he's really excited about that one, and it would have been fun to see a true golden ticket final if Clown had made it, but he didn't. Instead, we get to see a different kind of grand final. Still stuff to play for. More on that in a minute. Can Pandora do it again? Well, what we saw in the first matchup was one of the things that really kind of put some shackles on the legs of Jeba's picking decks for Mo, and that's the inability to be flexible as you go in to make those 1 or 2 card changes in game 2 and game 3 when you're picking decks. And so we've seen how that's a slight nerf to Muhammad Light in this context. Pandora this time, I think that you got to make some changes, obviously, but certainly has a chance here and can maybe take a moment and think about what worked there with putting Muhammad Light into a bad situation with picking index 3 and 4 and do that same thing again, hopefully here. And Pandora only needs 1 win to secure this bag, 2 wins back-to-back, 2 sets win needed for Muhammad Light to get this one done.
Yeah, and I guess the really interesting part about that conversation is if there's anyone that can do the back-to-back set wins and has proven it numerous times, it is Mo. And I really like what you're pointing out there about the decks. I mean, it's so tough when you go and you look at Muhammad Light's deck pool just because, you know, in this month he's played 30 different decks in competition. He does definitely have favorites, but even in just the favorites in his top 10 decks, let's say, there's still 5 different archetypes in there. So I think it becomes really tough because you go, all right, he's opened up with Hog EQ in the last 2 sets. Does he do it a 3rd time? That guessing game becomes really, really tough.
let's take a look at what we are playing for at this stage. Our prize pool, because while Pandora has already guaranteed himself a golden ticket since Mo cannot get 2, now we're talking.
唔同咗咧，係咪已經翻唔到嚟咧？咁呢一啲咁嘅疑問咧，講真就我哋冇辦法完全去一下子就同你去講翻話啊，你信我啦，咁樣就建立翻個信心。即係我覺得呢樣嘢係冇可能做到，即係唔係一句説話咁簡單。咁但係可以做啲乜嘢就好似啱啱四哥所講，就係我哋希望慢慢做翻我哋一直以嚟想做嘅嘢，咁就慢慢可以有翻個同室友之間有翻個信任喺入邊。希望就係咁咯，希望將來係咁。
即係唔知喎，其實呢段時間我成日都諗啊，點解會發生呢件事嘅咧？點解會咁嘅咧？點解會搞成咁？即係我成日其實呢番説話，我最尾同阿嚴都有講嘅，就係即係我好想啊，有一日瞓醒，原來呢啲嘢冇發生過。咁但係其實冇可能咯，即係有啲嘢係發生咗就發生咗，係冇得逆轉咯。我都想可以好似之前咁，我哋繼續一齊開開心心推廣節譜，一齊讀書，一齊玩。因為我覺得其實揾到即係一班志同道合，大家中意哲學，大家中意推廣哲學嘅人係好難得嘅。有好多朋友都同我講話，即係佢哋都係哲學系嘅朋友啦。咁然後話，即係自從出咗嚟做嘢之後，其實好難揾翻一班咁樣嘅朋友，即係有人同佢講哲學，有人同佢傾一啲佢好關心嘅問題。咁而我覺得即係荼毒室對我嚟講，其中一個好重要嘅意義就係，我都可以揾翻一班咁樣嘅人，而甚至我嗰啲朋友睇完，跟住會覺得啊，你哋俾翻我好似咧翻去以前哲學系嘅感覺。咁但係發生咗呢件事就係有啲嘢冇咯，即係從此都唔同咯。咁所以對我嚟講，其實呢個係真係幾難過。咁同埋亦都係啦，我諗室友即係見到我哋發生咗呢件事，其實可能佢哋都冇諗過，甚至有好多時候佢哋可能會好信任我哋，或者好甚至可能欣賞我哋啦，覺得啊，你哋唔會係啲咁嘅人啊，或者做。
Talking about I got time, let's do one. That's what Pandora needs to think about right now. Play your game, it's just practice. You're both going to Worlds, you both got a bag of cash. Play your best Clash Royale and get in practice against the best in the world. That's what I'm saying if I'm his coach or if I'm his friend.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what Rich said about, like, Pandora has already had his celebration moment, right? At this point, maybe the adrenaline's down, maybe the vibes are a bit lower, maybe, you know, he doesn't really care if he wins or lose. But it's Mo, you know, he wants to secure that win. Like, that's what he's doing. That's what he always does. He wants the W.
Yeah, I mean, talk about building that GOAT resume, Rich. I mean, if Mo walks away with being, yeah, you know, I won 6 monthly finals in 2023. You know, something crazy like that. It becomes like not only does it become a world champion conversation, like a rings conversation, but the monthly finals hold a lot of weight as well.
呢啲嘢，咁但係最終發生咗啊，咁我都唔知大家仲會點睇。咁所以之後條路會點咧？其實我諗我哋都真係唔知。咁我啊，唯一可以做嘅就係繼續做翻好自己啦，繼續做翻好我哋想提供嘅內容啦。咁睇下荼毒室之後可以行到幾遠咯。
我覺得即係因為其實呢段時間入邊好多室友或者同我哋合作過嘅人或者支持我哋嘅人，其實都有關心我哋啦，即係我哋遇到呢件事，我哋點樣去即係我哋 O 唔 OK 啊咁樣。其實我都有諗過，即係我覺得最重要嘅，即係對我嚟講，荼毒室最重要嘅就係，只要我哋仲係想繼續做呢件事落去，想繼續做節目，繼續去推廣哲學俾大家。咁而亦都有人係願意繼續睇嘅，亦都喺中間入邊有得着嘅。咁我就覺得係可以繼續做落去咯。即 even 就算 even 冇咗圖錄室，我都覺得我哋都仲係可以繼續做落去嘅。其實即係只要我哋想做嘅話，咁所以即係我覺得即係呢件事對我哋係一定有影響，但係我哋亦都喺呢個過程入邊去，即係我自己感受到我哋重新再企埋一齊，然後一齊去面對呢件事，然後亦都有心繼續做落去。咁所以我會咁樣去關心我哋嘅室友。
咁正如咁多位成員所講啦，由事件發生到而家，係對我哋嚟講係一個好難捱嘅時間。亦都可以話心力交瘁，面對咁多外界嘅質疑，或者應對事件咁複雜嘅演變啦。即係有幾次朝頭早起身嘅時候，都會唔會有一絲希望，覺得會唔會只係一場夢，或者只係一場玩笑？雖然係一個好差嘅玩笑啦，但係可惜都唔係。即係嚴肅，即係我諗相信咁多位成員對嚴肅都係有好多年嘅交情啦。咁我自己都係嘅。發生呢件事，我好難用2-3個字或者係幾多詞語，傷心啊、憤怒啊、不安呢啲咁嘅嘢去總括我對佢嘅感受。相信大家都係好複雜嘅對佢呢個人。而呢件事即係頭先提到啦，即係我哋當中發生一啲摩擦，令到我哋嘅關係冇辦法翻到以前咁樣樣。咁呢樣嘢對我嚟講啦，可能係真係有啲創傷嘅一啲疤痕喺度嘅。相信我哋都好難話一時半刻可以。
Yeah, they most certainly do, and as we
matchup like this, all he needs is one good E-Giant push.
Prince plus Mega Knight plus Inferno Dragon. Inferno Dragon not going to be taken care of course, by that Lightning, and the Phoenix Pop doesn't get it off the board. So now the stack begins. Inferno Dragon continues to stay on the board as Miner goes down low. Cannon to pick up that Bandit.
Interesting Fire Spirit of the bridge there. That's not going to help on defense, just barely working out for him. E-Giant the bridge, no, left side. Interesting play. Maybe he's trying to get some Gold Knight dash value on the right.
Let's see that tile difference. You talk about that tile difference earlier today, Juicy, and you see right there, not able to pull the trigger and get the E-Giant or get the Golden Knight on tower. Cannon trying to pull double duty up high. King Tower activation finally for Mohamed Light.
And there goes the Lightning on the Prince. It might seem weird, guys, but that is what you need to do to win this matchup. You need to Lightning the Prince and Tornado the Inferno Dragon into the E-Giant to break through.
And look at Mohamed Light choosing to just tank the MK damage on the left for a long time, defend the weak side tower, and use that HP as a resource. Can that pay off here? Will it be enough, or does Pandora take game one?
Cannon gonna defend this Miner. Bomber gonna pull this Inferno Dragon to the opposite lane. Gold Knight setting up ready for the E-Giant. We're gonna see one come down really soon, I'd say.
And those arrows, not quite enough to get that wall breaker through. Electro Giant in front of the Golden Knight. Prince pulled off with the NATO, and Lightning for some extra damage. This is huge damage on the left-hand side. This is suddenly a game here, Juicy.
One Lightning away. Pandora needs the pressure in order to take this dub. Here comes the Mire, the wall breakers, but the Bomber kills the wall breakers. Arrows are not enough, and the Gold Knight picks up the Mire. Lightning gonna finish the game. Mo Light with a huge comeback to take game one.
Oh my word. It's just, what do you do? What do you do? It's
He's so
crazy.
He's so crazy. The best.
How do you go that far behind? And you saw everyone seeing the damage. It all comes down to that Mega Knight, letting that Mega Knight tank the left-hand side, knowing he had 2,000 HP he could give away comfortably, and defending the right and staying alive. Just wild.
You make a great point there, and don't forget the beautiful Tornado pulling the Prince away from the E-Giant to the Golden Knight, allowing for that massive connection.
And you can see the smiles from Mo right now. That's his team in his ear, cracking jokes and gassing him up a little bit.
Bomb tower down the defense versus the RG guards as well. We've seen Mo I think, played this deck 3 times, maybe 3 or 4 times today. The guards, along with the Hog EQ, just so solid on defense. The Bomb Tower version 7 Inferno here are going to help out quite nicely versus this RG. But what Pandora has to do to break through is get the Monk in front of the RG in order to deflect those Bomb Tower shots.
And still gives up 1 shot from the Hog Rider. Lead for Mohamed Light both in the match and in the game at the moment.
A little bit late on the E-Spirit there. Maybe if you get the E-Spirit down a little bit quicker, you can stun the Hog at the right moment to allow for that next Hunter shot.
And notice the timing on the Archer Queen to avoid the first shot from that Princess Tower on the right-hand side.
Very nice. Now there's a Monk counter pushing. Giant Skelly variation here going to help out quite nicely on the defense. Guards helping out as well. Phoenix doing a great job of just kind of cleaning everything up while that Monk ability tanks though.
This is, Juicy, a slightly thicker version of Hog Cycle, right? You have the 6 elixir for the Giant Skeleton, you have the 5 elixir for the Archer Queen, plus popping the ability as well. This still has the ability to outcycle against Pandora, but not as much as other variants might.
Absolutely. On the other hand, the guards are very good with the DPS on the RG. In order to break through them, Pandora's going to have to hit a pre-log plus pre-E-Spirit to take the shields off and kill the guards completely in order to break through the RG.
Defensively, does this being a little bit slower make that a little bit more palatable for Pandora, or is it still the same problem where you're trying to just hope that your fisherman doesn't get distracted at the wrong time like this one right here?
You know, that's a great question. I do think that a quicker cycle would be more beneficial for Mo, just because you're able to cycle back to the Bomb Towers on the defense a little bit quicker and also cycle the Hogs on the offense. With a slower cycle, you can see that Pandora is able to kind of outcycle himself here with the double RGs.
And you see the Bomb Tower and the Ice Spirit nearly getting disrupted by that Barb Barrel. Still, the lead does switch to Pandora, 24-16 to 23-03.
Monk on the defense once again. Pandora is most likely going to get another RG. Mo knows that, and he's like, okay, I need to pressure the opposite lane to make sure that doesn't happen right now. Really good Giant Skelly Hog. Phoenix, Barb Barrel, Fisherman doing a great job of cleaning everything up, though.
And now a pretty significant counter push. Healthy Phoenix plus Barbarian left-hand lane. Monk will get in front and start reflecting on that right-hand lane. Pick up here with the Bomb Tower on the right-hand side. Monk reflection. Is that enough to get the damage in? No, the lead's still going for Pandora. And look at the Phoenix on that left-hand tower.
The Phoenix was the real threat there. I think Mohamed Light needed to use the log on the left to kill the Phoenix egg. It was that close to the tower. That means a huge Phoenix connection. Guards didn't pick up either. And we're heading into triple elixir. Pandora with a massive counter push, though.
Giant Skeleton to control in the middle. Monk does go into reflection. Pretty huge tanking. And there you see that log, that Barbarian Barrel, E-Spirit combination that Juicy talked about earlier, getting those guards off the board. RG trying to get a shot off here, and it does connect. 880 left, and now we're in triple.
2 Phoenix eggs on the board. Bomb Tower on the defense. Log does kill them both. RG is going to get cleaned up pretty well. Nice defense from Mo. He needs to have a nice counter push, though, as well. There's only 30 seconds left, and Pandora is stifling this counter push with his own Monk ability to counter the Arch Queen ability.
Pandora in rhythm. Hogs just not able to do anything. And the Fireball not quite getting the Bomb Tower off, not going to be a problem. Pandora has to defend one more Hog Rider at most, and let's see if Mo plays it. Nope, he chooses to just go ahead and reset and get ready for game number 3. Pandora having the tournament of his life this weekend.
He's playing fantastically. Another game down from Mo. Mo's like shaking it off right now. He needs this game 3 in order to force it to a next best of 3. And Pandora just one game away from the $16,000 grand prize for this monthly finals.
So what does Pandora have in the tank here for game number 3? Last time that he played, last time that he played this combination, he went E-Giant game 3, not going to be E-Giant here.
Taking a page out of Mo's book with the Hog. Mo with the Firecracker and the Monk gonna be taking a page out of Pandora's book with the RG.
An aggressive early push here from Mohamed Light.
It's aggressive, but it's good aggression. But the Monk is played a little bit too late. It's gonna die before the ability gets full effect. And what a play from Pandora, using the Bonfire to push the RG back, but also somehow getting the Bonfire to lock onto the RG instead of the Monk to prevent that reflection.
Still damage in, lead for Mohamed Light by about 474 HP, if I understand subtraction.
Archer Queen,
which is no guarantee, by the way.
Archer Queen gonna take the Hunter. And a nice log here to keep the Archer Queen full health. E-Spirit here. Ability is gonna pop, but it's too late. Mo, really nice micro there. Taking out that Queen, preventing the ability from getting much value at all.
Monk cycling right as we pass the midway point of our opening three, 22-02 to 26-18. Lead holding strong for the world champ, and adding to it a little bit of Firecracker chip.
And does he get the Monk ability down? Yes, he does. Bonfire's getting reflected. RG is being tanked for. That is a very healthy RG on the board. Log's not going to help out much either. Not to mention the Firecracker.
Wow.
Chipping away the tower as well. That tower's all the way down to 263.
Firecracker's a serious problem here, and, you know, great pick from Mo and his team here in game number 3, recognizing that the ability to get to that Firecracker, you know, you're talking about what's already out, because Fireball out, arrows out, and now you're going, well, how do you kill a Firecracker in the back? And the answer is, you hope you EQ log, but you can't do that early.
Can't do it that early because it costs 5 elixir, not to mention a nice Monk ability from Mo, preventing the log from coming through, trying to deflect that log to keep the Firecracker alive. Good patience by Pandora, but the Firecracker already got its value. And the other thing about the Firecracker, look at that. Once one dies, there's another one gonna drop very quickly.
Yeah, just really next level choices here at the end. Hunter and Fisherman will be sufficient to prevent any meaningful damage here. Mohamed Light throws a fireball, and we're gonna reset this bracket. Play it back, folks. $6,000 best of 3 coming your way.
Now the question is, can Pandora reset his mindset and win this game? Like you said, it's super difficult to lose and then somehow have the wherewithal to be able to win the next one. I don't know. What do you think? Who do you got here on this next match, Rich?
I already told you, Mohamed Light.
Yeah.
You don't lose the first of a bracket reset to Mohamed Light and then recover. It's just not how. Look, if you look at history, that's how you'll learn. And the history of this is Mohamed Light wins this one. It's a best of 3. It's a best of 3 in-game duels. You only have to win 2 games. Pandora certainly could win this one. I'd give him maybe a 20-25% chance of winning this, and it's very possible that he will. But man, you don't want to be playing. You don't want to be in this situation against Mohamed Light for $6,000.
Yeah, 100%. Like we talked about, guys, Pandora did win that golden ticket already, so that is not a huge issue. Up into the replay here, like we talked about, the Prince pulling away with the Tornado to the Gold Knight, allowing for that huge connection. You know, Pandora had the early damage lead, but Mo, like I said, definitely possible to come back in the E-Giant.
Yeah, that game was absolutely bananas that Mo won game number 1. And then, of course, you see here, just no answer for the Firecracker. The Firecracker is just sitting back there, and it's one of those cards that, you know, you talk about very similarly, the Flying Machine, where it can be, if you don't have the right cards for it, can be so devastating. But the Firecracker stays so much further back than the Flying Machine, plus it keeps pushing itself back over and over again. So, man, you don't have the right pieces for it, and she can just run you ragged. And that's what happened. And again, now, folks, those of you asking, wait, why are they going to play again? It's the bracket reset. We'll talk about that more in detail in a moment. Here was game number 1, and I'm in the chat.
完全從呢個狀態即係復原過嚟。咁啊，不過都正如其他人都提到，就係我哋都會仍然希望繼續做好我哋本分，去繼續做我哋之前想做嘅一啲理想，去宣傳哲學普及。 咁今日冇參加到呢團片嘅其他成員啦，例如喺英國嘅朱文啦，同埋喺美國嘅阿余啦，其實佢哋一直都有去緊密地跟進呢件事嘅，都參與過我哋啲好多嘅商討，好多嘅 meeting。佢哋都係好 share 我哋頭先提到嘅一啲感受嘅。
去到最後啦，咁呢件事當然最受傷害嘅係受害者啦，同埋嚴肅嘅屋企人啦。咁我相信其實對佢哋嚟講係即係絕對比我哋更加難受嘅，而其實係需要好多嘅時間心力去回復嘅。咁希望係可以即係唔敢講話變翻以前咁啦，希望佢哋可以變得更加好啦，起碼走出呢個陰霾啦。而對於荼毒室嚟講，其實我哋都真係反思過，我哋最大，亦都係最終最原初嘅目標就係自由普及。而嚴肅嘅退出，的確係一定係會對成個自由普及，對於我哋，對於觀眾係會係損失嘅。咁而同時呢件事雖然話其實都過咗一段時間，但係個創傷大嘅位，其中一個就係我哋面對好多嘅評論批評。平心而論啦，其實荼毒室的確係有不足之處嘅。咁希望呢件事係一個契機，令到我哋停一停，去反省翻自己，可以變得更加好。而我諗我哋都唔能夠或者唔應該去同大家講話其實之後會一切如常。
Chat with a bunch,
but he was able to survive into that later elixir stage where the E-Giant
之後唔會改變，一定會改變。但係我諗最起碼我哋會保證到大家嘅就係我哋會盡力做得更加好。呢個係盡力做好自由普及嘅目標。呢個係我哋可以同大家承諾嘅東西。最後啦，希望日後可以喺唔同嘅地方、唔同嘅活動同大家討論切磋交流一下。多謝。
我哋覺得係時候咧，要同關心我哋嘅朋友咧，就交代翻件事。最緊要就係講翻我哋一啲感受啊、心聲咁樣啦。咁我哋首先會講下件事係點樣咯。
正如大家都知道啦，咁嚴肅佢其實係本身係結咗婚㗎啦。咁而目前知道嘅係佢其實係同兩位荼毒室嘅室友就講大話，呃咗佢哋，隱瞞咗佢自己結咗婚嘅呢一個狀態。咁而亦都同佢哋兩位分別都發展咗一個情侶嘅關係。咁呢兩位室友之間係唔知道對方嘅存在嘅，直到係去到近嚟先至，即係佢哋慢慢先至知道真相。咁呢件事入邊其實毫無疑問，呢兩位室友同埋嚴肅本身嘅屋企人咧，係一定係最大嘅受害者嚟嘅。咁佢哋呢件事入邊受到嘅傷害係我哋唔係好可以想像到係有幾大嘅傷害，而且係即係我哋知道係冇辦法可以去彌補到嘅。咁對於呢件事，我哋都覺得好難過咯。其實，
咁其實喺即係發生咗呢件事1個月前左右啦。咁我哋就 keep 住一直去了解翻呢件事，跟進翻呢件事，因為我哋作為嚴肅嘅朋友，想同佢一齊好好去面對啦，處理翻佢造成嘅傷害啦。咁但係喺成個過程當中咧，我哋發現其實佢對我哋係有好多隱瞞嘅，咁甚至係對我哋都講咗好多大話嘅。咁到我哋後尾又再信翻佢啦，我哋又會發現有更加多嘅隱瞞啦，同埋大話啦。咁所以去到最尾，其實我哋好難再信落去，即係因為好多嘢我都唔知可唔可以再信落去。
It really shines in a match pound deck just by the fact that you can use the E-Giant Tornado and the Phoenix kind of solos the Lob Hound.
Well, we'll see if that's if that possibility comes up. Maybe it's something he pulls later in the match as we see a Phoenix and or a Mega Minion go the opposite direction. You know, Andrew, you talk about hoping for maybe some different stuff out of Mohamed Light. We did see him go in that Ram Rider Rage deck. I don't know, have you had a chance to either play with or against that Bridge Spam Rage deck? Because it is certainly making a splash here this weekend.
Yeah, you know, I've played against it a good amount, and we've seen variations of it in the competitive scene. It's just like not my style of deck. You know, it really just isn't. It's not the way that I play. I don't know Rage that well. Like, I don't like playing with Rage that much, so it's probably a better thing for Juice. One thing I will say is that, like, I do think Royal Giant should show up, and I would like to see Royal Giant with Tombstone and Skeleton King. We haven't seen RG Tombstone much today, and I think a lot of the times that we've seen RG struggle, maybe that building could help out a little bit, especially against a deck like what you're talking about with that with that Ram Rider being a little bit more popular. But you know, here we go. I think all three of us are on the cast for this one. Mo definitely switching it up a little bit. We haven't seen Spears, and we haven't seen Golden Knight out of him much today.
Yeah, and it's the minor control with Golden Knight NATO. So typically he's been saving Golden Knight and or NATO for other decks. We've seen it a lot, of course, in E-Giant, seen NATO making its place in Drill, as apparently as our Golden Knight, NATO, and Drill, but using it here in Minor. Juicy, what does that tell Pandora about the remaining deck pool for Mo, that Golden Knight, NATO are here as part of this Minor deck?
I mean, that means no E-Giant. We've seen Mo use E-Giant a lot, and with the Golden Knight NATO out, that is not going to be a possibility. You guys are wondering why you need Tornado with E-Giant. It's because without the Tornado, you're not able to pull things into the reflection radius to help you on the defense, but also on the offense.
Wow, that was just a really nice NATO combo there in timing with the Prince, or excuse me, the Golden Knight, to make sure that Hog Musketeer combo didn't get too much damage. I think here for this, and Juice, maybe you could feel this, is just like Mo already recognized. I even saw his eyebrows pop up a little bit when the Goblins came out to defend the Minor. It's all going to have to be Mighty Minor to pick up those Minors throughout, especially later on, because you feel like Mo's just going to Minor Poison everything else that gets dropped.
Yeah, that's a great point. Minor Poison gets a lot of value, but at the same time, Goblin's one of the best prong to use versus with the Golden Knight. For example, we'll see a lot of Miners counter pushing with the Golden Knight with a Miner in the front of the tower. If the Goblins drop on the Miner, then the Tornado Golden Knight will always connect the tower.
So we're going to have to innovate a little bit defensively as Pandora.
Easily cleaned up here, though, for Pandora, and we're going into sudden death overtime. Lead for Mohamed Light, dual lane pressure early on, and just a nice little NATO back into the middle. And, you know, you have NATO, Bomb Tower, Ice Spirit. Is that sufficient for Mo to continue these pretty clean defenses, Juicy, given the cycle?
Absolutely. Hog Rider gets countered almost by the best Hog Rider counter in the game is the Tornado. Having a building alongside that should mean zero Hog connections. Pandora is going to have to rely on Earthquake almost as his main win condition in order just to continually cycle those and spell cycle the tower down.
And trying to find a way to break on through here. There you go, Andrew.
I was going to say, it's so tough, and Pandora trying to beat out the cycle here, but there's so many good responses to get on top. You know, like Juicy said, the Earthquake is going to be one of the best damage dealers, and there might be a good moment for a Hog plus Goblin since, you know, Mo doesn't have Log, but Mo has so many other good ways to control that push. But the thing is, the Goblins don't have much of a place in this matchup other than maybe doing something like that.
Spears high for more pressure. Minute 17, now 16 remaining in this game number 1 of our bracket reset. And just so many different ways. Now you're just seeing pull Nate. Now that King Tower's activated, pull it to the middle with NATO. Ice Spirit for some safety. And this looks like it might be a calibration needed for Pandora, as this one seems like it's slipping away from him with just 50 seconds left to go.
I don't know how to play through this, honestly. And then you see there Mo doing a great job. The second that Mighty Miner's out of cycle, he goes Miner, poison to the tower, because at worst, it's going to get good tower damage and miss something like a Musketeer like we just saw. At best, it's going to get on top of Goblins, a Muskie, what have you.
Hog trying to sneak on through. We'll get a couple of shots here, or at least just a little touch of being there.
Just stare at the tower, yeah.
Ice Spirit is just that guy. Absolutely freezing to that Hog Rider and preventing any sort of hits.
And that's a great way to put it. All right, so you talked about RG before, Andrew, on side of Mohamed Light. Log is out, and Mighty Miner is out. So it does seem like RG certainly an opening. With NATO out, do we see Pandora go in a Miner direction?
I was gonna say, but then Mo just goes Hoggy Q and like just does what he does. So I really don't know. I don't know, Juicy. Do you have any ideas here of what Pandora or Mo? And there it is. I mean, at least I got that right. Dude, I was literally gonna say I bet Pandora runs RG with Tombstone, and I bet Mo runs Hoggy Q, and I only got half of that out. That's already GG.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think the RG Tombstone is decent versus Hoggy Q because you have the building, the Tombstone able to play high and prevent anti-earthquake placements, whereas the Fisherman also a great counter to the Hog Rider. But with the start here, it's really difficult for Pandora to come back already, especially with this Mighty Miner as one of the best counters to the Royal Giant.
Oof.
Yeah, put that on the wall and frame it. Oof. Quote from. Essentially, I know I'll claim that for all of us, Andrew, because I think that's what everyone's feeling right now.
I mean, dude, it's already over. I mean, literally, if I'm able to call that Mo's gonna go Hoggy Q, and I know that Pandora's gonna go RG, and we haven't seen RG Tombstone, it feels like there was the ball drop somewhere. If I'm able to figure all that out and I get roasted for picking, you know, wrong win conditions all the time, I'll own it. It feels like there's a problem that happened.
And this one pretty well sewn up here. Pandora not going to throw in the towel quite yet. Going to try to fight his way through this one, but looking dire early. And Mo just goes immediate mortar high, and Pandora's going to eat it and try to break through.
And it really is tough to watch because, like I said, it's not a bad matchup for Pandora. He's got the Tombstone, he's got the Fisherman, he even has the Zappies for the Mighty Miner. It's just really tough because of the start he had, and also Mo just continually applying that pressure with the early elixir advantage and keep stacking on troops. Not to mention that Fisherman not pulling that Hog Rider on the left at the beginning. He got distracted by the Mighty Miner earlier.
So victory lap time as Mo sets up the mortar, and this is just such a strange way to end, right? Because Mohamed Light, back-to-back monthly champion, now joining his longtime friend and rival Lucas and being the only two back-to-back.
I can't wait for that on Twitter. I'm sure Lucas is going to be thrilled about Mo getting back-to-backs.
That's the only thing he's ever hoped for, honestly, I believe. So now Mo is a back-to-back monthly final champion, but Pandora is guaranteed and will be at World Finals. So you have a whole lot going on here, kind of a wild ending to it. But again, the people, no matter how many times I see it, I can't be more surprised. People say Mo is overrated, Mo is just lucky, Mo is it's not real.
Yeah, Michael Jordan got lucky.
Yeah, look at it one more time. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Tiger Woods. It was the clubs, not the player.
Yeah. Michael Phelps can just hold his breath better than other swimmers, I think, is what it is. It's just a different level. I mean, we talked about Ruben, we talked about Surgical, we talked about Morton. It has now been so clear for you.
咁喺呢件事過程當中，其實我哋係起咗一個幾嚴重嘅衝突嘅，咁甚至係好嚴重地破壞咗我哋嘅關係啦，我哋嘅友誼啦，我哋都好難合作落去。咁我相信嚴叔都好明白呢一點，佢自己都好同意呢一點。咁所以就最尾有咗大家睇到嚴叔退出嘅決定啦。咁其實我可以話我哋同嚴叔真係好好嘅朋友。咁雖然可能我哋每一個人同佢之間嗰個友情都有唔同深淺程度啦，咁但係最終發展到呢個局面，其實我覺得係好難過。咁甚至今日仲要講返呢件事出嚟，其實對我哋嚟講都好唔容易。咁我自己覺得其實最難過就係，因為我哋一齊真係識咗好多年，共事咗好耐。 由一齊搞節譜啦，一齊去創辦荼毒室啦，一齊經歷好多風風雨雨啦，面對可能人哋嘅批評啦，咁我哋咪一齊諗啊點樣去處理啦，我哋一齊去笑翻啦，笑翻啲事啦咁樣，咁經歷咗好多嘢，咁但係就係唔知幾時開始咧，我哋嘅關係變到咁樣，好似咧我哋之間要好多防備，我哋要諗下到底你咁樣講其實係咪真嘅咧？你咁樣講係咪想達到某啲目標咧？咁所以成個關係好似變晒，我哋好似唔再係以前咁咯。我哋之間好有芥蒂，好多嘢要防範。咁我覺得對我嚟講呢一個係最可惜嘅，因為對我嚟講，荼毒室並唔係淨係一個工作嘅平台咯。荼毒室係我哋成班人，好難得地可以揾到大家，然後可以咁樣合作落去，做到好好嘅朋友。咁所以你問我，我覺得其中一個即係喺呢段日子度失去咗最寶貴嘅嘢，就係我哋之間嗰段關係咯。
其實呢件事發生咗，即係都一段時間啦，沉澱起嚟。其實有一個畫面我成日都諗翻起嘅，就係喺我哋荼毒室成立5週年嘅時候，我哋就拍咗一條片，去每一個人講下呢5年嚟嗰陣時5年嚟嘅感受啦。我記得有一個問題就係問我如果荼毒室有一朝一日係解散嘅話，你覺得係咩原因呢？我嗰陣時好肯定咁樣講，就係如果真係解散，咁啊應該係外部嘅原因，因為我哋對自己所有嘅成員其實好有信心，嗰個信任都好強。當然而家唔係話要解散啦，但係呢件事對我嘅好大嘅震撼就係原來我哋即係識咗咁耐。奮鬥咗咁耐，經歷咗咁多事啦，即係數以10幾年計，諗翻起，嗰份信任係可以係因為一啲唔係好長時期嘅摩擦衝突就係破裂嘅，所以係好難受嘅，的確，同埋係要花好長嘅時間去平復。咁我相信其實大部分嘅成員甚至所有到呢一刻其實都係難以平復晒，好似變翻未發生過一樣，甚至可能其實永遠都係唔能夠平復嘅呢件事。我自己好大嘅感覺就係，雖然有啲老土咁樣講，原來信任呢樣嘢係好重要，而我自己會覺得真係要珍惜一啲可能相信你嘅人。無論係朋友、情侶、屋企人，同埋唔好做一啲事去令人失去對你嘅信任。
咁呢段時間都好辛苦，其實就係一時之間咧，嗰個網絡啊，好多意見、好多聲音、好多批評咁樣，好似走晒出嚟咁啊！嗰一啲對我哋呢一個團體嘅批評，咁係好難捱嘅，即係呢一啲嘢，咁啊成日睇住個連登啊，跟住啲 comment 又點樣啊，跟住個精神係好繃緊嘅長時間。呢啲的確係好辛苦，但係我自己最唔開心嘅地方，我諗同你哋都差唔多。我最唔開心嘅地方就係同鹽叔嘅關係好似有一啲變咗質咁咯。因為咧我哋搞呢一個荼毒室咧，中間發生咗好多嘢啦，而咧我慢慢咁覺得，其實原來對於我係好重要嘅，即係荼毒室呢一個團體，即係大家一齊合力做一件事咧。我以前係未試過咁有歸屬感嘅，對於某一個團體。咁跟住原來都幾開心喎，好似大家嘅感情又喺做呢啲事嘅時候一路建立翻嚟。咁咧，我依家諗翻轉頭啦，即係好多我生命入邊幾重要嘅 moment，其實都係即係大家都有份咯。咁鹽叔當然係其中一個好重要嘅人啦。我成日同佢有好多嘅合作啊，一齊講 talk 啊，一齊傾偈啊，咁啊，所以無可避免，即係我一諗翻呢啲喺我生命入邊幾重要嘅嘢，鹽叔都在場。跟住依家睇翻轉頭咧，就好似有一種失落咯，即係無奈發生咗一啲咁樣嘅事啦，好似就令得我哋嘅關係有一啲變化咁樣，咁就唔可以再合作落去咁我自己就覺得好可惜㗎，即係呢一樣嘢對於我個人嚟講。
It's another playing through that lower bracket. You obviously were sent down there a little bit later on today. Was there any moment throughout that lower bracket run or when Pandora beat you where you were like, all right, maybe this month maybe this month I'll take second place? Or have you just found that that lower bracket doesn't really mean anything different for you?
Well, this time around, since I was in the lower bracket for like only one match, definitely the stress wasn't as high as before since me losing in the first round in previous tournaments. I had like that stress all the time, so I only had it once this time, so I was able to like manage that well. And no, I most of the time I was confident in myself that I can bounce back, get in that final. It's my specialty, I guess, winning back-to-back sets in the final. So yeah, I was confident all the time.
So talking about your confidence, that's one of the things that Guanik actually, there's a thread right now that Surge TS put up about what separates you from everyone else, and confidence is a big part of it. I got to ask, talking about confidence, that matchup against Pandora, you're playing E-Giant, you are getting worked the entire game, and you decide to go naked E-Giant at the bridge, opposite lane. When did that idea come into your mind? When did you recognize that it could work, or was it more of a desperation play? Talk me through that process a little bit, and maybe even what was going on in your ear, if there was anything from your coaching staff.
Yeah, that E-Giant matchup, it's not as easy as it looks for Elixir Giant, especially in single Elixir when you don't have a great cycle. You can take a lot of damage, but in double Elixir, you can definitely maneuver more with like E-Giants at the bridge. In that matchup, you don't E-Giant in the back because they just Prince Mega Knight into it, and it's almost impossible to break through that. So him cycling his archers in the opposite lane, I felt like playing an E-Giant into that lane and playing a lightning on the Prince, try to DPS it down. Maybe I would have gotten at least some damage, and then maybe like do a defense, repeat the same process, and get the win somehow. I had to like go for a desperation play as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love you breaking that down for me. That thought process that you're making in a split second is always so impressive. You know, Mo, you seem to just keep winning. You are going to World Finals once again. Talk to me just a little bit about your coaching with Jebez. I know that you guys are very vocal about working together. Obviously, you had some great changes today. You had that, you know, the Inferno coming in with one of your Hog EQ decks. You know, feel free to talk about Jebez and talk a little bit about Hog EQ and why you guys seem to be leaning towards it so much right now.
Well, first of all, Hog EQ is one of my strongest archetypes, along with the Miner, for example. So we definitely like to, I guess, abuse playing it since I'm very good at it, and I guess I can bail out some matchups if I get a bad matchup. And adding the Inferno Tower there, I guess Jibus was afraid from beatdown decks, especially Monk decks, because having Bomb Tower, for example, or Cannon, with the Archer Queen, the Monk gets a lot of value on the Queen and the Cannon, while Inferno doesn't get reflected, for example. So yeah, Jibu's, he works with Alan. Alan is like a secondary coach. He helps him with picking cards, missing cards and stuff. They're a really, really good partnership. I love them. They do really well every time.
All right, well, Mohamed Light, great to hear that your team is setting you up to win, and great to see you coming through again. Congrats on another golden ticket, in quotes, but more so about securing another 16K. I'm sure we'll see you again next month, my man. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy another big win. And for everyone at home, Mohamed Light, the best player in the world, picks up another win, another 16K, and a golden ticket with an asterisk. Boys, he talked us through that process.
咁就另外啦，以荼毒室呢一個團體嚟講咧，冇咗嚴肅咧，我估大家都知道㗎啦。其實佢係一個喺我哋呢一個團體入邊幾重要嘅一個成員啦，去做好多嘢嘅係咁的確會令得我哋荼毒室將來咧可能會有啲變化嘅。咁但係咧，我唔希望因為呢一件事就完結咯，荼毒室，即係我仲想玩落去嘅，即係呢一個荼毒室呢一個團體。咁接下來會點樣咧？咁我自己都希望繼續做啦。咁我會即係認真啲咯，嘗試即係拍一啲認真嘅片啊，繼續做翻我哋原本做開嘅嘢啊，咁樣咯。咁睇下我哋仲可以做到幾多嘢啦？睇下大眾會唔會接受我哋啦，咁咯。
咁其實我都想講下，即係呢段時間有咩感受啦。咁其實傷心啊、難過、嬲、失望，咁呢啲嘢都係有發生過嘅。但係去到今日咧，我就覺得 都起碼叫做過咗少少啦，所以係去到呢一刻我自己嗰個心情係叫做放鬆啦，所以先至可以坐喺度同大家講嘢啦咁。但係中間咧嗰段時間係好似 Alex 所講係非常之震撼嘅，係件事一發生嘅時候，我哋大家都係非常之驚慌。咁啊，我哋都開咗好多次 call 啦，大家傾咗好多偈啦。咁甚至有成員即係半講笑咁講話，嗰段時間同我哋傾偈咧多過同佢另一半講嘢。咁即係聽落去好似好好笑咁啦，但係中間係個過程係非常之煎熬嘅，因為我哋係處於一個非常之大嘅壓力啦，面對住唔同嘅批評，包括就係呢個時間點解你會講嘢咧，或者呢個時間點解你唔講嘢咧咁樣，咁所以中間嗰段時間係好難捱嘅。我哋一路喺度諗處理呢件事要點做，其實都講真嗰句就冇乜嘢可以做。但係最大嘅幫助就係我哋之間會互相傾訴，同埋處理翻自己嗰個情緒同埋感受，同埋處理我哋自己關係嘅一啲東西。咁所以呢段時間叫做過咗，即係最難捱嘅時間咧。我覺得我自己覺得，或者我真心希望真係過咗去咁樣。咁但係嚟緊我都希望我哋荼毒室或者所有受影響嘅人都可以。即係諗個方法可以重新再上路。咁啊，另外一樣嘢就係都好重要嘅，就係呢個亦都係即係豬民都好關注嘅一樣嘢咧，就係我哋同室友嘅關係。因為荼毒室唔單止係我哋幾個即係10幾個成員嘅一個 project 啦，當然都係好重要啦。但係亦都係好多人嘅精神支柱啦，包括我哋嘅觀眾、關心我哋嘅朋友或者我哋嘅會員。咁但係喺呢件事入邊咧，唔多唔少都可以話係有啲嘢失去咗，就係我哋之間嗰個信任啦。因為大家會有好多唔同嘅猜測。